Squeak tilde tilde. Pleasure value from pink fluffy pig plus 50. Pleasure value from pink fluffy pig plus 50. We're just getting started, Sue Rand said gently, his gaze on the pink fluffy pig becoming even softer. Indeed, a 5-star washing and protection requirement is truly terrifying. After removing the stubborn dirt visible to the naked eye, he started to comb each completely wet hair strand with a specially designed comb. The fallen but sticking floating fur and tangled knotted hair gradually became tidy under Sue Rand's patient combing. Its originally wide eyes were now tightly closed, and its body lay flat on the care platform, making low squawk sounds from time to time, allowing Sue Rand to do as he pleased. After initial cleaning, the pink fluffy pig's fur finally lost its gray color and gained a bit of pink color, finally showing the color of the hair that it should have. Chen Ziyang, who was clenching both of his hands nervously throughout the process, couldn't help opening his mouth in surprise. So Little Gray's fur isn't gray. By the way, the staff member who certified him also said that Little Gray's species is a pink fluffy pig. Does pink fluffy pig mean a pig with long pink hair? It seems there's so much he still has to learn as a new beast master. But Little Gray looks very comfortable now. Chen Ziyang clenched his fists, and his expression became serious. In the future, he will take Little Gray to be groomed more often. Deep grooming, mite removal, fur massage, localized care. Sue Rand went through the steps methodically, and in a short while, the originally dirty and smelly pink fluffy pig was completely transformed. Its light pink long hair was fluffy and soft, and after trimming, it perfectly covered the still skinny body of the pink fluffy pig, making it look adorable. There were no more traces of tears or other dirt around those blue eyes. They were as dazzling as sapphires. Squeak tilde. The pink fluffy pig leaped down from the care platform, and its long hair trembled. There was a faint duang tilde sound. It moved its short legs step by step, ran to the front of Chen Ziyang, and was about to leap into his arms. Wait a minute. Chen Ziyang quickly stopped the pink fluffy pig and then took off his jacket, revealing the clean t-shirt inside. Then he hugged the pink fluffy pig, his face showing surprise. Little Gray, you're so pretty now. Looking at Chen Ziyang's jacket tucked under his armpit, with the dirty side folded inside, Sue Rand's expression gradually became weird. This kid is quite clean. But this also proves that he really loves his pet beast. The grooming is complete, we can go out now. Sue Rand led the pair out of the grooming room. Boss, your grooming skills are incredible. Chen Ziyang happily paid the money, and his words became more verbose. I'll bring Little Gray here again in the future. You're always welcome. Sue Rand nodded slightly, and then couldn't help but ask, can you tell me where you contracted this pet beast? A pet beast from the breeding base wouldn't be this dirty. No, Chen Ziyang shook his head, the smile on his face gradually softened. Little Gray was a stray pet beast near my school. Before I awakened my first stage contract power, I was bullied by a classmate on my way home. It was Little Gray who stepped forward to help me. We got to know each other that way, and since then I have been bringing food for it every day, and it would follow me until it sees me home, protecting me like a guardian. Chen Ziyang's smile became even brighter. After a month, I finally awakened my first stage contract power last night. Then I contracted Little Gray. What a moving story, Sue Rand said, deeply moved. The bond between stray pet beasts and humans, huh? He couldn't help but think of when he first met Xian. No, wait. Hold on. A stray pet beast. Hold on a minute. Sue Rand was starting to lose patience. Why would pet beasts go stray? That, Chen Ziyang looked innocent. I have no clue, okay. Hang on, I'll ask Little Gray. It seemed like he had never thought about this either, and he started a back-and-forth conversation with Little Gray right in front of Sue Rand. I got it. Chen Ziyang quickly wore an I-get-it expression. Little Gray told me it went astray because its parents were stray pet beasts, and they are already dead. Sue Rand glanced at Little Gray. Little Gray was rather thin, despite Chen Ziyang having already fed him for 1 month. It was not hard to imagine how bad his condition must have been a month ago. As a transcendent being, ordinary food couldn't satisfy its needs. So how did it survive before it met Chen Ziyang? Chen Ziyang quickly asked Little Gray for Sue Rand. He said that if he gets too hungry, he would go to Boss Cat, and Boss Cat might give him some food. But Boss Cat has to help many stray pet beasts, and the food is just not enough. As Chen Ziyang's translated, he affectionately petted Little Gray. Boss Cat. Ran's mouth twitched slightly. From the sound of it, that should not be a human being. So Boss Cat is like the leader of these stray pet beasts. Ran was still full of questions, like whether the Beast Master Association knows about these transcendent stray pet beasts and whether they would attack humans. But looking at Chen Ziyang and his pet's innocent eyes, Ran knew he wouldn't get his answers from them. Maybe he could ask Xian, who had also been a stray before. With that idea, Ran used his contractual sensing to ask. Meow, Boss Cat. Inside the thunder training area, Xian came to a halt. As he heard the question in his mind, he appeared thoughtful. When he was a stray, he was just a normal creature. His wisdom wasn't particularly high then, and his long-past memories were now a bit fuzzy. But after hearing Ran's description, it did remind him of something. He remembered that his fellow strays had mentioned a group of stray transcendent beings. The strays in the city are indeed organized, fighting each other for territory and food, but everyone would stay away from them, because they were simply too strong to be beaten. As for further details, Xian was clueless. After telling Ran what he knew, he once again threw himself into the strenuous training. The 6-hour training time was almost over. He needed to keep training. Is there really a gang of stray pet beasts? Receiving confirmation from Xian, Ran couldn't help but gesture at his chin. Forget it, never mind. If they had fallen into strays, their strength probably wasn't that great. They might be some of the pet beasts that had escaped from a breeding base and went unnoticed. This issue could be left to the Beast Master Association to worry about. Thank you. With that in mind, Ran nodded to Chen Ziyang. You can go back now. Welcome to come next time. Thank you, boss. Goodbye. Chen Ziyang politely said goodbye and left with his pet excitedly. Watching the pair disappear out the door, Ran yawned and glanced up at the clock hanging on the wall. It was almost closing time. Just about to lock up and... Ran, I got some good news. Gu Wu strode into the store, his face was smiling. Didn't you ask me about the Heart of the Thunder Stone before? Now there's a good chance to get it. Ran, Senior Gu, why didn't you tell me 2 days earlier already? Chapter 171, 120 Gu Wu's Shock. Extra Chapter 610, for Silver League user Sunlight 1314. Although Gu Wu was a step too late, Ran had already obtained the Heart of the Thunder Stone and even successfully evolved Xian. However, resources like the Heart of the Thunder Stone are always welcomed in abundance, so when Gu Wu came with information, Ran naturally did not mind learning about it. Senior Gu, you've gone to great trouble. Ran spoke sincerely, feeling even more moved when he thought about how a general-level beast master like the other party still remembered his need for resources. I didn't actively look for it for you, it was merely a coincidence. Gu Wu shook his head slightly with a hint of a smile on his face. I mentioned 2 ways to obtain the Heart of the Thunder Stone before, do you remember? Of course. Ran nodded. The first is to exchange for it in a city larger than a second-level town, where resources are more abundant, and it's easy to exchange for the Heart of the Thunder Stone. The second is to search for it outside the city based on the abnormal astronomical event during the birth of the Heart of the Thunder Stone, but it requires luck. As he got to this point, Ran's expression became somewhat strange. In retrospect, his luck this time was really quite good. Thanks again to Lucky Liu. Correct, Gu Wu nodded slightly. The opportunity to obtain the Heart of the Thunder Stone that I mentioned is actually an opportunity to go to a second-level town. I know your concerns. The nearest second-level town is Zhou City, but it's a few days away and it's easy to encounter danger along the way. Indeed, Ran nodded in agreement. If it was so easy to go from one city to another, we wouldn't have so little interaction with other cities. So I say it's an opportunity, Gu Wu smiled. The story is long, starting from when I arrived in Qingzhou City. Please go on. Ran closed the shop door to prevent any new customers from entering. I came here from Xian City, under the guise of returning home to settle down. But in reality, I came with a mission. Gu Wu spoke frankly. The Beast Master Association of Xian City wants to organize an exchange event among several cities. You know, with the current situation, this is not easy. Yes, Ran nodded slightly. The areas outside city are largely populated by transcendent creatures. In a sense, every human city is besieged by these beings. No one knows if one day the transcendent creatures will launch a full-scale attack and easily destroy a city. At present, The peace within the city seems more like a false prosperity, a necessity to calm the people's minds. This is a small truth that Su Ran has gleaned from the many world documents and his own observation. In Chairman Fang of Xi'an City's words, some things are hard but someone has to do them. Gu Wu's voice showed a trace of emotion. Exchange is only the first step. The breakthrough of the cities and the future launch of the human counterattack is the ultimate goal. Of course, that's somewhat far off. Gu Wu shook his head slightly, without diverging from the topic. The target for this exchange is the better young beast masters from each city, for you are the future. The previous new Beast Master Challenge match, something that Qingzhou City has never had before, was held to select young beast masters and determine the spots for the exchange event. Gu Wu explained, not only the top 4 of you but other well-performing beast masters are also on the list. We will consult with everyone and then collectively head there. I will lead the team, ensuring safety. The last time you asked me about the heart of the Thunder Stone, I actually wanted to tell you then. But I had not made contact with Xi'an City and was not sure of the specific time for the exchange. Gu Wu paused. I just received a reply today. The exchange is in 1 month. I can assure you that the heart of the Thunder Stone can be easily exchanged in Xi'an City. Apart from this, the exchange event will also give you a chance to see a bigger city. What do you think? After listening to Gu Wu's words, Su Ran fell into a rare silence. He really did not expect that the opportunity to obtain the heart of the Thunder Stone that Gu Wu mentioned was this kind of opportunity. Xi'an no longer needs the heart of the Thunder Stone to evolve. Although it can be used to enhance his power, other resources can also do the same. So from Su Ran's perspective, this resource has become less essential, or at least, it's not worth making a special trip to Xi'an City to exchange. Deep down, Su Ran did have some yearning for a bigger city. However, he wasn't particularly interested in the exchange event Gu Wu mentioned. After a moment of hesitation, Su Ran decided to tell the truth. Senior Gu, actually, I just obtained a piece of the heart of the Thunder Stone yesterday. I'm no longer in need of this resource. Surprise appeared on Gu Wu's face. Thinking of Su Ran's space expansion technology in the shop, he quickly showed a clear understanding. Yes, a person with such conditions wouldn't be in need of just one piece of the heart of the Thunder Stone. Perhaps he only lacked it temporarily before, hence the urgent need for his help. Well, if that's the case, you. Krieg Tilda. The back door of the shop was opened and Xi'an, who had just finished training, walked in quietly, blinking when she saw Gu Wu. Wasn't it time for the shop to close? Almost at the moment when Xi'an appeared, 4 voices sounded at the same time in Gu Wu's mind. King Species X4. Gu Wu's words stopped abruptly. His usual calm demeanor broke instantly. His eyes widened as he stared at Xi'an, who had completely changed, and whose aura was far stronger than the last time he saw her, as if he had seen a ghost. Chapter 172, 120 Gu Wu's shock. He was all too familiar with this situation, and recognized it as the king's power that was yet to be fully withdrawn around Xi'an, after just finishing her training. Gu Wu could confirm this. It was indeed a king species. Was it only at the elite stage? Had it finished evolving at this stage? Wait, Boss Su had said that he had obtained the heart of the Thunder Stone yesterday. Could it have been used for evolution? Gu Wu, having deduced many things in an instant, turned to look at Su Ran, unsure of what to ask. Xi'an was able to evolve successfully, thanks to the guidance from Senior Gu on evolution. Su Ran seriously nodded, confirming Gu Wu's guess. The knowledge about evolution that Gu Wu had mentioned earlier had indeed helped him a lot, enabling him to firmly establish a policy strategy for evolution by integrating skills. Gu Wu opened his mouth, then slowly closed it again. Guidance on evolution. Did he provide any? What he mentioned, shouldn't it be common knowledge to beast masters who are slightly stronger and about to touch evolution? If it was that easy to evolve based on those things, then why would countless beast masters both love and fear evolution and call it the Ghost Gate? What attribute is your pet beast now? Taking a closer look at Xi'an, Gu Wu sensed a hint of power that didn't belong to the thunder attribute, his eyes widening even more. Dual attributes of thunder and fighting, Su Ran introduced. Dual attributes. Gu Wu took a sharp breath, showing an expression of "I thought so but wish I hadn't." He had already helped 4 pet beasts successfully complete their evolution, and he had interacted with many strong beast masters in Xi'an City. Although he didn't completely understand evolution, he had at least passed the initial exploratory stage. Multiple attributes have always been a topic of interest for strong beast masters. Having more attributes means less likely to be countered, while the amplification of multiple attributes makes them stronger than single-attribute entities. But multi-attribute pet beasts also have fatal drawbacks. The difficulty of evolution for multi-attribute pet beasts is greater than that of single-attribute ones. In addition to the challenges faced by single-attribute pet beasts, they also need to deal with the problem of balancing powers among various attributes, which incurs a higher risk of evolution failure. What's even more hellish is adding new attributes during the evolution process. Some strong beastmasters had suggested the possibility of acquiring more attributes through evolution to enhance their strength, but other beastmasters regarded it as a joke. Acquiring an attribute that a pet beast never had, mastering, familiarizing, and balancing it with existing attributes during the dangerous evolution process that could fail at any moment. Isn't that a dream? Gu Wu had once sneered at such wild conjectures, but now, looking at Xian standing in front of him, Gu Wu suddenly couldn't laugh. Did I remember it incorrectly? Gu Wu asked carefully with a touch of fortune. Your pet beast, it was originally of the thunder and fighting attributes, correct? No, Su Ran blinked, showing a puzzled expression. It was originally the thunder attribute. The fighting attribute got added during the evolution. What's wrong, Senior Gu? Nothing. Gu Wu took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. After that, he pushed the shop door and walked away. Okay, Su Ran nodded, then remembered something and hurriedly took a few steps forward. Senior Gu, about the exchange a month later, I am not sure if I can go. Can I give you an answer later? There was still a month to go, so there was plenty of time to make a decision. Gu Wu didn't say anything, but nodded to show that it was fine. At this moment, the matter of the exchange didn't matter anymore. He had taken a bit of a hit and needed his daughter's smile to recover. He had just acquired the evolution resources yesterday, and he evolved an extra attribute. Why on earth did this kid successfully evolve? Oink tilde. On the way back, being held by Chen Ziyang, the pink fluffy pig suddenly squirmed and made a slightly flustered sound. Are you going to visit your previous companions? Chen Ziyang paused, a surprised look appearing on his face. Shall I go with you? Oink tilde. The pink fluffy pig shook its head affirmatively and jumped down from Chen Ziyang's arms onto the ground. This was its final farewell to its companions. From now on, it with a home and a beast master would no longer meet them, nor would it be one of them. This was the mutual agreement among stray pet beasts. If a beast master were to accompany, it could actually cause their dissatisfaction, as some of them hold hostility towards humans. Although it really wanted to introduce its beast master to everyone, the pink fluffy pig firmly refused. It step-by-step moved with its short legs into the lane, further and further away from Chen Ziyang's perception. Friends of Little Gray. Chen Ziyang pondered for a moment, then slapped his forehead, revealing a vexed expression. Ah, I should have bought some food so Little Gray could give it to them as a gift. Never mind, next time. Chen Ziyang, who didn't understand the importance of this meeting for Little Gray, made a quick decision and stood at the entrance of the alley, waiting for Little Gray. On the other side, Little Gray, who had walked deep into the alley, stopped. In front of it, 3 stray pet beasts that looked quite fierce and more powerful than Little Gray appeared abruptly. The 3 pet beasts remained silent, simultaneously locking Little Gray under their oppressive and aggressive gaze. This beautiful and well-maintained creature didn't belong here. Roar tilde. Get out. The one in the center made a deep and somewhat threatening sound. Snort snort. Little Gray hastily spoke up. It was here to say goodbye to its friends. Why did they want it to leave? It couldn't help but look towards the one on the left among the 3 stray pet beasts, who was clearly playing nicely with it a few days ago. Recognizing Little Gray's identity from its voice, its eyes quickly changed, becoming dazed from the previous oppressive look. It rubbed its eyes and then moved forward, smelling Little Gray, a look of disbelief covering its face. Gulp. Snort. Gulp gulp. Snort snort. After some exchange between the 2 pet beasts, the one who previously blocked Little Gray changed its attitude quickly and began quietly talking to the other 2 beasts. Only after assurance from Little Gray's friend did the other 2 beasts gradually believe that the well-cared-for-looking creature in front of them used to be their companion. The three stray pet beasts turned around and walked deeper into the alley. Little Gray let out a sigh of relief and quickly followed. With their guidance, Little Gray faced no more obstacles on its way. Soon, at the deepest end of the alley, Little Gray saw an imposingly strong tomcat standing poised on a broken stone chair. Its pointed gaze was both dignified and oppressive. Around it were pet beasts of all shapes and colors, their only similarity being the long, unclean dirt on their bodies. Among all the stray pet beasts, Little Gray, who had just been washed and protected by Suran, stood out strikingly, attracting unusual looks from other companions. Snort, snort, Tilda. Little Gray, realizing the problem after the explanation, quickly made a sound to explain its situation. So all the pet beasts turned their attention towards the big cat sitting on the stone chair. According to the rules of the stray pet beasts, whether Little Gray's actions could be accepted needed to be decided by it. The big cat closely scrutinized Little Gray's finely groomed fur, and after a moment it emitted a deep sound. Meow, Tilda. Care for your present beast master and don't come back. Having the approval from the big cat, Little Gray's familiar companions came forward one after another, in an orderly manner, to say their final goodbyes. After a while, this farewell ceremony finally ended. Watching the back of Little Gray as it walked alone toward the exit of the alley, one of the stray pet beasts suddenly spoke softly. Woof! It is so clean, should we also take a bath? The big cat pondered for a moment, then quickly ruled. Meow. Washing and protection, arrange it. Expect an update before 10 p.m. tomorrow. Chapter 173, 121, The Upper Limit of Fosterage. That night outside the already closed door of the Starfair foster care shop, a figure appeared. Standing about 2 meters tall, it was built like a small giant. Its head, arms, and legs were vastly different from any humans. While covered in fur, it also had 2 cat ears. Meow, Tilda. So this is the place where Little Gray was washed and cared for. The big cat calmly stared at the tightly closed door of the Starfair foster shop, recalling scenes of past warmth. There was a glimmer of nostalgia and reminiscence in its eyes, but it quickly vanished, replaced by a sense of calmness and dignity. Those days are long gone. Now it simply leads the stray beasts, guiding the homeless creatures to the right path. Reflecting on the details mentioned during Little Gray's explanation, a sense of helplessness appeared on the big cat's face. Once a human had taught it that words and actions match, leading to inevitable consequences. Having committed to arranging the cleaning and caring for everyone, it has to keep its word. But the washing and protection service here is kind of expensive. The big cat touched the worn-out small purse on its waist. Carrying this purse gave it an air of humanity. Inside it hid its savings, money that was usable in the human society. Though the methods it used to obtain this money weren't entirely legal, it made sure not to harm any innocent beings. In the past, the big cat used this money to buy food for transcendent beings. It would sneakily take the food and then stealthily leave the money. And this purchased food was distributed among the hungry stray beasts. The food was given out in moderation, aiming not to fill their stomachs, but to lead them to get close to humans and obtain food, to avoid viewing humans with hostility in the city. Thanks to its efforts, everyone gradually became self-sufficient, no longer depending only on it for food survival. Saving more because it didn't need to buy food anymore. But now, the big cat suddenly felt that its savings was a bit too little. As it counted the number of its companions using its clawed paws, its expression grew increasingly distressed. Meow, Tilda. I wonder if this store gives discounts. After standing under the street light for a while, the big cat silently disappeared. Good morning. Pinching Zian on his face, Suran sluggishly sat up from his bed. Looking at the sky outside, he began to wash up and dress. Meow, Tilda, I'll go check on Star first. Zian, who had woken Suran up, saw him starting to undress, and she quickly ran away. Soon after, everyone gathered in the foster area on the lower level. No rush, eat slowly. Suran took a slurp of his noodles, tapped the edge of his bowl, and reminded the beasts, who were practically stuffing their faces into their food bowls, to consider their table manners. Ow! Frost Dust Wolf, stop howling. After you eat, you can howl all you want back on the snowy hill. Fireball, quit guarding your food. No one here but you would drink paraffin. After some shouting, Suran satisfiedly started checking off the foster care residents. 27, 28, 29. His gaze fell upon the resident that moved in yesterday afternoon, and his smile grew brighter. There was about to be 30 foster care residents. He was relying on them for physical points every day. Putting rabbit, don't be scared. If they bully you then. Getting closer to the new resident, Suran didn't finish his sentence when he sees Putting Rabbit fly up and knock over the food bowl of a nearby golden-striped ant. You shouldn't be bullying other residents either. After a chaotic flurry, the meal ended with Xian elegantly wiping her mouth and turning on King's power a little. Seeing that the residents had eaten obediently, Suran cleaned up the food bowls and sent 2 pets to the training area to start a new day's training. Then, leisurely, he went upstairs and opened the shop door. Starfair Foster Care Shop's business of the day started with the first customer, who was waiting outside the door early in the morning. "Boss, could you please wash and protect my pet beast?" "No problem," Suran gave a friendly smile, extending his arm to lead the customer into the shop. Just as he was about to accompany the customer into the shop, he felt something, turning to look outside the door. On the early morning streets, a few pedestrians happened to pass by. Everything was normal. Probably just my imagination. Suran shook his head slightly and soon began to wash and care for the pet beast. In a hidden corner of the street, a cat's head slowly emerged, its deep-set eyes watching the direction of the Starfair Foster Care Shop. Quite alert, I guess he's the owner of this shop. Did not expect, he is actually a beast master. The cat's head slowly receded, leaving only one eye peeping through the crevices, looking in the direction of Starfair Foster Care Shop. A secretive observer, JPG. We look forward to your next visit, Tilda. After waving goodbye to the 6th cleaning client of the day, Suran shook his somewhat numb hands, a satisfied smile on his face. He returned to the counter, propped his head up, and stared blankly out the door. Nowadays, the shop serviced an average of 6 to 7 cleaning clients each day. As the service bringing in the most pleasure value, just the cleaning service alone already brought him more than 10,000 pleasure value every day. Only for the fostering services. As the number of pets residing in the shop approaches 30, new foster care customers have become less frequent. Kingju City is only so large, and there are only so many beastmasters compared to bigger cities. There are only a few beastmasters who need foster services, and the other foster shops are all saturated. Chapter 174, 121, The Upper Limit of Fosterage. Thanks to the rapidly growing reputation of the Starfair Foster Care Shop, quite a few beastmasters, whose fosterage period at other foster shops had ended, didn't renew their contracts there. Instead, they sent their pet beasts over to Starfair, bringing quite a number of new residents to the shop. But of course, other foster shops wouldn't just sit and wait for death. They rolled out discount measures, fosterage with included washing and protection services offers and such, successfully retaining a portion of the wavering customers. I wonder if we can break the milestone of 30 foster care residents today. Boss Sue, I'm here to foster. Here we go. Suran promptly stood up from behind the counter and greeted the newcomer with a smile. Speak of Cao Cao, Chinese idiom which means speak of the devil, and Cao Cao arrives. Moreover, it was a familiar face. Looking at Zhang Yun and the stone-armored dragon behind him, which was following closely while constantly glancing towards the back door of the Starfair Foster Care Shop with an eager look, the smile on Su Ran's face grew richer. Brother Zhang, you have to work again. Yes, Zhang Yun nodded and let out a sigh. I've been busier at work recently. Fortunately, I won't be gone for a long time, just 3 days. Zhang Yun's voice slightly paused as he looked at Su Ran. I'll have to rely on you for these 3 days. You can rest assured, Su Ran nodded. I'm fully confident when I leave it to you. Zhang Yun laughed, and then, as if he had just thought of something, he changed topic. Can I see the active area assigned to the stone-armored dragon? At this moment, he recalled the last time he visited with his nephew and saw the astonishing space expansion technology. Now, the foster area in the Starfair Foster Care Shop was much larger than before. So, wouldn't the activity area assigned to his own stone-armored dragon be much larger as well? Thinking of this, a hint of anticipation flashed in Zhang Yun's eyes. Of course, no problem. Su Ran opened the back door. Follow me. A moment later, both of them, along with the pet, were standing in the foster area located in the first basement level. This area is assigned to the stone-armored dragon. Using the control hub, Su Ran quickly outlined a living area for the stone-armored dragon in the foster area. It was no longer a small hill of pebbles, but an undulated terrain comprised of pebble piles that met their eyes. The area was at least 5 times larger than the previous one. You should know that the last time Zhang Yun came, there were only 3 foster care residents in the entire foster area. Is there anything you need to adjust? After the design was completed, Su Ran turned his head and glanced at Zhang Yun. No, it's more than enough. Zhang Yun shook his head without hesitation. Boss Su, your foster area has changed so much, aren't you going to raise the price? No, it's still the same price. Su Ran shook his head slightly. The system had no intention of raising the price and had not increased the automatic deduction of ongoing costs, so he naturally had no interest in raising the price. It's not like he lacks money. What if he ended up driving customers away? Boss Su, you are the most conscientious businessman I have ever seen. Zhang Yun couldn't help but sigh. Those who call you a cunning businessman in the forums are really doing you an injustice. Yeah, it's all rumors, Su Ran sighed. Upon hearing this, he immediately warmed to Zhang Yun. Just for that praise, I'll give the stone-armored dragon special treatment. All right, I'll go now. Zhang Yun nodded, bent down to pat the stone-armored dragon's large head. Wait for me to come and fetch you. After that, he took out his cell phone, transferred the 3-day fosterage fee to Su Ran, and left. Su Ran wanted to see him off, took a step forward and suddenly stopped. A line of text appeared in front of his eyes. Foster care residents have reached the limit. Huh? What? Just as Su Ran was feeling proud of having reached the milestone of 30 foster care residents and was motivated to aim for 40, his expression immediately fell. Wait, the limit is 30 pets. He couldn't help but turn his head and look at the half of the foster area still available for use under his planning. This large space can easily accommodate 50 or 60 residents, right? This is obviously unreasonable. Su Ran couldn't help but whisper in complaint. Such a large space, and the limit is 30 pets. As if sensing Su Ran's complaint, the line of text that popped up in front of his eyes paused for a moment, then quickly changed to a different line. Host's energy is limited. Caring for more pet beasts will overly disperse your energy, making the fostered pet beasts in the shop unable to get the best care and attention. Limited energy, Su Ran's mouth twitched slightly. He always felt this scene seemed familiar. Previously, during the washing and protection, there was a similar situation. It wasn't reaching the limit, but a reminder that washing and protection could not be repeated in a short time. Although the situation is different now, the essence is almost the same. So if I increase my energy, can the limit of the number of pet beasts fostered in the shop be increased? Su Ran speculated. When the strength is strong, the energy is naturally strong. The system didn't respond to Su Ran's speculation, so Su Ran remained in place, continuing to guess. Besides enhancing strength, another possibility to increase the fostering limit is a system upgrade. The last upgrade brought such a large fostering space. Su Ran had reason to believe that the next system upgrade would greatly improve the service. However, Su Ran hasn't completed the main task 1 yet. The system upgrade is far away. Besides these 2 methods, the third and most feasible one is to hire shop attendants. The energy of a person is limited. Su Ran runs the Starfare Foster shop alone, and he personally carries out washing and protection, fostering and accompanying training. This is strange in itself. If there are new employees in the shop, Su Ran naturally has more energy to care for more foster care residents. However, the problem lies in that the Starfare Foster shop is not a normal foster shop, and normal shop attendants cannot be hired here. Normal shop attendants cannot bring him the pleasure value and various benefits obtained by system skills. He can only get the money earned by the business. What does he want this money for? So, this is the existence of the system clerk. Thinking of the task rewards of the main task 1, Su Ran had a bit of enlightenment in his heart. Since the task reward has no detailed introduction and explanation, he can only complete this task as soon as possible and see what the system clerk is all about. However, this day won't take long. Su Ran unconsciously looked at his personal panel. Plucking fur B level, 49,500. Drug application C level, 351,500. Prank C level, 56,500. The completion condition of the main task 1 is that all 3 system skills reach B level. Now Su Ran's plucking fur is already B level, which is equivalent to having completed 1/3. The progress of drug application is also fast. Every day when it is past midnight and the experience settlement time, it can bring him more than 20 experience points. With the stone-armored dragon checking in and reaching the foster care resident limit, 30 points of experience can be obtained every day, which can quickly reach B level when counted. As for pranks, this skill was the latest that Su-Ran obtained, so in order to keep it in sync with the other two skills and break through to B level as soon as possible, Su-Ran has not stopped promoting new services to the shop's guests in his recent operation. As long as they pluck up the courage to try it once, they will be shocked by the amazing training efficiency of Starfare Foster's accompanying training service, becoming regular customers of the shop and making regular visits for training, so the experience upgrade speed is also very fast. Xilu. Meow. The slightly puzzled voices of Star and Xian brought Su-Ran back from his thoughts. Have you two finished training already? Looking at the slightly tired but bright-eyed pet beasts, Su-Ran smiled. Meow, have the resources arrived yet? Xian asked expectantly. Not yet, Su-Ran shook his head, adding up the time. It should be soon, right? You two come upstairs and wait with me. The two pet beasts looked at each other and quickly followed Su-Ran. They couldn't wait to use the resources they exchanged for so many points yesterday. Chapter 175, 122, The Wandering King. Back on the first floor of the shop, the staff from the Beast Master Association responsible for delivering the exchange resources had not yet arrived. Su-Ran continued to manage the shop while Xian familiarly hopped onto the counter, tucked her meaty paws into her chest, slightly lowering her head and squinting her eyes. Not far from her, Star found a vacant place to stand, then slowly closed his purple crystal-like eyes, beginning to rest. The weather was clear, and the streets heated by half a day of sun were constantly letting off heat. Even the pedestrians had become scarce. Waiting for a while without any new customers, blowing the refreshing air from the air conditioner, and having two pet beasts resting after training next to him, Su-Ran felt somewhat drowsy, as if he had been influenced as well. Just as he was about to fall asleep, the shop door was slowly pushed open, yielding a creak sound. A customer came. Su-Ran quickly perked up, shook his head twice rapidly, got up and said, "Welcome to." He stopped before he could utter the word, "visit." Gazing at the muscular figure standing before him, a macho man with both hands crossing over his furry chest, the head of a cat, and dressing in dirty human clothes, Su-Ran's drowsiness was wiped out in an instant. Is this a human or a pet beast? After looking again and again, Su-Ran was sure that the big guy before him was a pet beast he didn't recognize. "Where is your beast master?" he couldn't help but ask. Xian and Star, who were awakened, also opened their eyes, looking somewhat surprised at this big guy. Though it was not uncommon for pet beasts to have human-like figures, it was quite rare to see one dressing in human clothes like the one in front of them. More importantly, the clothes it wore were somewhat ragged and slovenly. This was even more peculiar. Meow tilde. Humans perform washing and protection for me. The big cat didn't answer Su-Ran's question, but gave a low command after reading the price menu on the wall. Meow tilde, it said for you to perform washing and protection for it. Xian stared at the big cat, simultaneously translating for it. As a cat, it could easily understand the other's thoughts. Also, after a careful look, Xian felt a sense of familiarity with the guy before it, as if it had seen or heard about it somewhere. Washing and protection. Knowing the big cat's intention from Xian's translation, Su-Ran's expression became bizarre. Where is your beast master? Usually, isn't it the beast master who brings the pet beasts for washing and protection? Without a beast master, how could he accept this? Meow tilde. I have no beast master. The big cat remained silent for a moment, slightly shaking its head. Listening to the words translated by Xian, Su-Ran had an increasingly strange expression on his face. Himself coming for washing and protection without a beast master. This was the first time he had encountered this. Let's start with a system identification. Race name, Furious Battle Cat. Attribute, Fighting. Growth stage, Leadership Stay. Body type, Medium. Washing and protection requirement. Evaluation. The conquest of a king is more fulfilling than becoming the king itself. Conquer this wandering ruler with your nimble hands, my host. What a crappy evaluation, and the wandering ruler. Wait, no beast master and it's wandering. You're the boss cat. Thinking of a possibility, Su-Ran's face suddenly became tense. He initially thought the boss cat mentioned by the pink fluffy pig yesterday was just a transcendent stage pet beast that was somewhat stronger, but the most powerful would be at the elite stage. But this boss cat before him was at the leadership stage. Meow, it's you. Xian's body instantly tensed up. At this moment, it recalled the source of that familiar feeling. This guy before it, Xian had seen it once from a distance when it was still a stray cat. The powerful aura belonging to a transcendent being almost suffocated Xian, who was just a regular stray cat then. At the time, Xian could not distinguish the growth stage of transcendent beings, but now when it saw the opponent again, and sensed its still dominant presence, Xian realized that the opponent's growth stage had reached the leadership stage. It is the ruler of the stray pet beasts in Qingzhou City. Remembering what it had heard about this gang of stray pet beasts bullying other stray animals and even preying on them, Xian's eyes gradually turned determined. This guy is dangerous. Is it just here for washing and protection? It didn't believe it. The king's power began to disperse without a sound, spreading towards Boss Cat. Xian's power, which surpassed the typical peak elite stage, suddenly shot up to the extreme. Whistle. Star didn't understand the situation, but seeing Xian's nervous look, it added the Twilight Watch without hesitation. Boss Cat's face suddenly changed. Its gaze was filled with seriousness as it locked onto Xian, who was fluffing up in front of it. Although this was just an elite stage pet beast, the formidable domineering aura it radiated made Boss Cat palpitate. However, this kind of power wasn't enough to threaten Boss Cat. Boss Cat wasn't angry, but simply released the authority belonging to the leadership stage, blocking Xian's surpassing aura, standing quietly on the spot facing off against the two pet beasts. Hiss! With a sharp eagle's screech and the sound of strong winds, the outside of Starfair foster care shop suddenly went dim. A giant golden eagle, radiating the authority of the leadership stage, landed outside the shop, also breaking the standoff inside the shop. Chapter 176-122, The Wandering King. Boss Su, I have come to deliver resources for you again. The leadership-level beast master who had delivered resources to Su Ran last time laughed heartily, carrying a large alloy box. He walked into the shop. It seems I've come at an inopportune time. You have a guest. Upon seeing Boss Cat inside the shop, the beast master's voice abruptly stopped, his expression suddenly becoming strange. Your timing is perfect. Su Ran turned his head to glance at the deliverer, who he was meeting for the second time, and slightly sighed in relief. This leader stage pet beast has no beast master, it's wandering around the city. I know. The leadership-level beast master nodded slightly. The Beast Master Association is aware of this situation. Let your pet beast discard its aura first. They knew. Su Ran exhaled in relief. Since the Beast Master Association knew about it, and yet had not taken any action, it suggested that the threat posed by these stray pet beasts was controlled. He gestured at the still vigilant Xian. Meow tilde, all right then. Xian slowly calmed its aura, and Star, knowing what to do, gradually faded the auxiliary effect of the Twilight Watch. The stagnant atmosphere in the shop gradually dispersed, and the deliverer placed the alloy box on the counter. Boss Su, please check it. Then he walked directly towards Boss Cat, face full of smiles, and casually patted its shoulder. What brings you here? It seemed Boss Cat also knew this beast master. Its expression slightly eased as it started meowing in conversation with him. On the other hand, Su Ran opened the alloy box and checked the resources inside that emitted a strong energy fluctuation, then looked back to see the one-man, one-pet cordial conversation. An idea came to him. This senior, the checking is done. You can sign off now. All right, the deliverer cheerfully stretched out the signing form. We're meeting for the second time. How should I address you, senior? Su Ran asked while signing. Zhang Heier. The strong man retrieved the receipt, glanced at it, and nodded in satisfaction. Uncle Zhang, do you know Boss Cat? Su Ran asked the question that mattered most to him. Why would a leader stage pet beast be wandering? Well, Zhang Heier turned his head to look at Boss Cat, and upon seeing the cat nod, slowly started. Actually, it was the pet beast of a late colleague of mine. When one side dies in a beast master contract, the other side does not die with them, so when the beast master dies accidentally, the pet beast regains its freedom. Boss Cat and my former colleague had a deep bond, so after his untimely death, Boss Cat refused to contract with other leadership-level beast masters and chose to live alone. In this situation, the Beast Master Association allows a time of observation. Once it is confirmed that Boss Cat poses no threat to human society, it is left alone. But even if a leader stage pet beast leaves its beast master and lives alone, it shouldn't be roaming the streets, right? Su Ran glanced at Boss Cat once more, still a bit baffled. That was its decision. Zhang Heier shrugged. In a sense, it could be said that it had contributed to the safety of Qingju City. Contributing to public safety, Su Ran thoughtfully pondered. Before Boss Cat appeared, the stray pet beasts of Qingju City were a constant headache for the Beast Master Association. Zhang Heier sighed slightly. Those stray pet beasts have complicated origins. A portion of them are beasts with defects bred by pet beast breeding bases due to illegal practices. Another portion are those who lack survival skills after their beast masters die unexpectedly. In addition, some of them are offspring of these beasts. Without restraint, these stray beasts even harbor animosity towards humans. Moreover, they are quite clever. They know that if they harm humans, the association will take drastic measures to hunt them down, so they never harm humans and only steal. The association frequently receives complaints, but by the time our staff members arrive, they have already bolted. In the end, it's the association that compensates for losses and wraps up the case. Over time, even the association itself became exasperated. Su Ran's expression gradually became strange. The stray beasts from before were like that. What about after Boss Cat arrived? He couldn't help but be curious. The change was dramatic. Zhang Heier laughed heartily. Without the nurturing and investment of resources from a beast master, the stray beasts could never achieve leader stage through robbery. So Boss Cat, being a leader stage beast, easily rounded up all the stray pet beasts. Zhang Heier glanced at Boss Cat. Since then, the number of robberies by stray pet beasts has rapidly declined. There has almost been no such incident for nearly a year now. Besides, stray pet beasts have become more friendly towards humans. In the recent months, there have already been 5 stray pet beasts contracted by beast masters, which was unimaginable before. Meow tilde. Not 5 but 6, another one was contracted yesterday. Boss Cat was standing aside, quietly listening to Zhang Heier talking about his own affairs. At this moment, he suddenly corrected him, showing a slightly proud expression. All right, that's 6 then. Zhang Heier nodded. Anyway, all of this was thanks to Boss Cat. So that's how it is. Su Ran showed an enlightened expression, and his eyes looking at Boss Cat became a little bit more benign. Xian, standing aside, no longer showed hostility after hearing Boss Cat's story. Thinking about it, the situations that it had heard from its other stray buddies had probably happened before Boss Cat's arrival. This was obviously a misunderstanding. Meow tilde, sorry I got it wrong. It put its head down, looking a little ashamed, and started to apologize on its own. Meow tilde. Boss Cat shook his head, apparently not minding the little interlude just now. As long as the misunderstanding is cleared, that's good. Zhang Heier smiled. Anyway, Boss Cat can be trusted, Boss Su, you don't need to worry too much. Meow tilde. Boss Cat suddenly gestured at Zhang Heier a few times. Although it was not his own pet beast, Zhang Heier was quite familiar with Boss Cat, and quickly figured out what it meant. Boss Su, Boss Cat would like to bring all the stray pet beasts here for a washing and protection session. Zhang Heier patted Boss Cat on the shoulder. It wanted me to ask if there could be a discount. It doesn't have that much money saved. Meow tilde. Boss Cat nodded, looking at Su Ran with hopeful eyes. Discount. Looking at Boss Cat, Su Ran suddenly laughed. Let's forget the discount. Before Boss Cat's expression could turn disappointed, he leisurely added, just waive the fees. Meow. Really? Boss Cat's eyes lit up quickly. Really? Even Zhang Heier looked somewhat surprised. The number of stray pet beasts in Qingju City was not small. To waive all of their fees, Boss Su would be giving up a large sum of money. Right? Su Ran nodded seriously and spoke in a confident tone. In order to express our care for the stray pet beasts, Starfair Foster Shop, as a socially responsible place, has launched a free washing and protection service for stray pet beasts. All stray pet beasts can come to the shop for a free wash and protection, not just now but in the future too. We hope that the relationship between pet beasts and human society can thus become more harmonious, and we also hope that more human beast masters will be willing to contract these stray pet beasts. Good, Zhang Heier couldn't help clapping, and his eyes looking at Su Ran contained a bit more admiration. Boss Sue, your level of ideological awareness is simply too high. On behalf of the association, I want to thank you for your contribution. It's my duty. Sue Ran showed a warm smile and then suddenly changed the topic. In that case, can the association help us publicize this on Kingju Daily to encourage everyone to care about stray pet beasts? It would be even better if they could mention the new accompanying training service launched by our shop. Of course, nay. Zhang Heyer blinked, showing a puzzled expression. I've worked extra hours tonight. I just managed to complete the basic 8,000 words update. I'll work hard to make up for the remaining 28 chapters. Chapter 177, 123, B-level drug application. In the end, Zhang Heyer did not directly agree to Su Ran's proposal. Although as a leadership-level Beast Master he did have a say in the Beast Master Association, job responsibilities varied. He was in charge of transporting resources, so he couldn't make a decision about this matter on the spot. After promising Su Ran that he would report back to the association for it to deliberate on the matter, Zhang Heyer mounted his golden eagle and disappeared from the scene in a flash. Only Su Ran and Boss Cat were left, and the atmosphere was more relaxed, no longer awkward. Okay, let's start by getting you groomed. Su Ran smiled at Boss Cat in a friendly manner. For the next few days, you can bring your stray pet beasts here every afternoon for grooming. Although these stray pet beasts without a beast master couldn't get him pleasure values, after hearing Boss Cat's and the stray pet beast stories, Su Ran felt moved. Just considered it as doing some good deeds occasionally. After all, hadn't Xian also been a member of this group of strays before? Meow tilde. Boss Cat nodded heavily, following closely behind Su Ran, heading for the grooming room. Excitement and joy filled its eyes. Having arranged for the grooming, it felt like it had finally fulfilled the promise it had made to the other stray pet beasts. And it very much looked forward to its own grooming session. Before its beast master died, it had experienced his tender care. Finally, it could once again experience the sensation of being groomed. In the grooming room, Su Ran helped Boss Cat to remove its clothes and pouch, setting them in a corner of the grooming tool table. I'll help you wash these later too. Meow tilde. Boss Cat meowed appreciatively, then obediently lay upon the care platform. Splash tilde. Soon, water gently sprayed from the showerhead, evenly wetting Boss Cat's fur. The fighting attribute resources included in the bath nourished and relaxed its tense body while wetting its fur. They flowed from the ends of its fur to the roots, then carried away the dirt, running down the surface of its body and gathering in the pool below. Boss Cat's fur was about the length of a knuckle, and after it got wet, it clung to its skin. Its muscular figure became more prominent, looking visibly smaller. Meow tilde. Boss Cat closed its eyes comfortably, a contented look on its face. Wrapped in the warmth, it felt like it was in a warm embrace. A sense of security and warmth it hadn't felt in a long time welled up in its heart. It hadn't felt like this since its beast master, who it had depended on, died. Su Ran waited for a while, but when he didn't see a prompt about pleasure values, he realized that Boss Cat didn't have a beast master anymore, qualifying it as a stray pet beast. He wasn't used to it yet. He chuckled silently to himself. Then after completely wetting Boss Cat's body, he started to prepare for the next step of the washing and protection work. Both Boss Cat and Xian were cat-type pet beasts with fighting attributes. However, Boss Cat was entirely different from Xian. Under its fur was a robust body. Its bulging muscles were explosive power. After circling around it once, Su Ran quickly identified where to start the next step of the washing and protection work. He poured the massage oil he was holding onto Boss Cat's tense back and gently spread it evenly over the skin. Then, Su Ran made a chopping motion with one hand and placed it on the edge of Boss Cat's most protruding back muscle, while the other hand, clenched into a fist, was pressed against the center of the same muscle. His hands gradually increased the pressure and moved slowly downwards. The previously relaxed Boss Cat suddenly opened its eyes. It felt waves of unprecedented pleasure radiating from the muscle Su Ran was pressing, and as Su Ran moved his fist with steady force, the pleasure intensified. As if electricity was flowing through its body, the muscle Su Ran was pressing suddenly tightened and then twitched slightly. Simultaneously, an unusual sound, somewhat uncertain, issued from Boss Cat's throat with some difficulty. Meow. All right, it's finished. Su Ran put the money he had taken back into the cleaned and dried pouch and then helped the somewhat dazed boss cat to put it around its waist, patting its shoulder. As for the clothes, since they were too old and worn, Suran had asked Boss Cat's opinion and just threw them away. Meow tilde. Boss Cat observed its body in motion. The feeling that had been somewhat uncomfortable but also somewhat pleasurable during the muscle massage was now entirely gone. In return, there was an unprecedented feeling of lightness. The relaxed muscles tensed quickly with Boss Cat's movements and then relaxed again. On its large body, it revealed an unexpected agility. It was completely over the feeling of stiffness of the muscles it had when it first came here. The muscles no longer looked exaggerated. Luscious curves embellished its body. Power surged inside of it like lava ready to erupt, making anyone's heart race. The smooth fur flowed with the texture of the muscles. Under the light, it reflected a glow, enhancing the curves of the muscles and making Boss Cat look much more attractive. The beauty of power was fully displayed on its body. "Look, are you satisfied with the result after grooming?" Suran pointed to the mirror inside the grooming room. Meow. This is me. Chapter 178, 123, B-level drug application. The boss cat stared at his own reflection in the mirror for a good while, his face finally revealing an apparent expression of surprise and joy. There was no pet beast who didn't like looking more attractive. The new fierce and powerful appearance hit right at its heart in just an instant. "It seems to like it," Suran laughed lightly, leading it out of the grooming room. "Bring the stray pet beasts that need grooming every afternoon from now on." Over the course of 5 days, Starfair Foster Care Shop has displayed an immense sense of social responsibility. Using half its daily business hours, it provided free grooming for stray pet beasts in need, contributing their own power to the improvement of the city's appearance. According to incomplete statistics, Starfair Foster Care Shop lost more than 400,000 yuan in total in this free grooming event for stray pet beasts. But Mr. Suran, the boss of Starfair Foster Care Shop, stated that he will continue to run such activities. In the future, stray pet beasts that need grooming can come directly to avail of the free grooming service. In the past 5 days, due to their improved appearances after grooming, a total of 17 stray pet beasts found matching beast masters. We have every reason to believe that this number will continue to increase. After launching a new training service, Starfair Foster Care Shop once again launched a public welfare activity, contributing to the prosperity of Kingju City, demonstrating the sense of mission of a businessman. We hope that more businessmen will come forward to contribute their own strength to the prosperity of the city. Our station reporter will continue to report for you. Awesome, Suran applauded and smiled contentedly. What profoundly clever product placement. I refuse to believe there is anyone who still doesn't know we offer training services. The Beast Master Association really went all out this time. I initially planned on just running a small ad in the newspaper, but they arranged for a news broadcast. Suran grinned. I suppose it's because the grooming results were more impressive than even they had anticipated. Even Suran himself hadn't expected the 5 days of grooming to produce such interesting results. Because of the excellent grooming outcomes, numerous beast masters seeking contract pet beasts came to them, crowding the shop front every afternoon. The stray pet beasts, once neglected and unwanted, had now unexpectedly become in high demand. Such a superficial world. Suran sighed, stretched lazily and glanced at Xian and Star on the side. Who isn't superficial? Business is closed for the day. Let's go feed the boarders together and prepare our own dinner while we're at it. Meow tilde. Xian elegantly licked its paw, standing up from the counter. Its fluffy tail rose high, a combat force strong ring strapped to each limb, yet its stride appeared quite at ease. Suspended around its neck was a necklace with a pendant resembling a blue and purple crystal. Under the lights, it shimmered with brilliant colors. It was the blue electric leoli, which had been worn for 5 days. Supertime. Lighting gracefully from the counter, the thought of indulging in the day's meals put a spring in Xian's steps. Mealtime was the most rewarding moment after a hard day's training. Over the last 5 days, Xian maintained an unwavering 6-hour high-intensity training regimen, substituting energy blocks to supplement its energy in the absence of the energy-abundant potion. An energy block could sustain approximately 1 hour of training, and Xian needed to consume 3 general attribute and 3 dual attribute energy blocks every day, which was quite a headache for the impoverished creature. After using and comparing, the dual-attribute energy blocks, although expensive, proved justifiably superior to the general attribute blocks. So, despite further burdening its already strained finances, Xeon decided to exchange all its future points for dual-attribute energy blocks. The usage of over half the energy blocks and the influx of 2 items of training resources over 5 days also notably enhanced Xeon's strength. When it had just evolved, Xeon's growth stage progression was 21,376-30000. Now, after merely 5 days, it had already reached 26,435-30000, increasing by over 5,000, or by about 1,000 points a day on average. At this rate, it would achieve the satisfactory standard of the elite stage before the exhaustion of all resources. Zalululu tilde, let's go now. Star neighed, closely following Xeon, equally eager for mealtime. Around its sturdy neck was a deep, dark pearl necklace, shimmering mysteriously in the light, and clinking melodiously from its hooves were horseshoes made from crystal material. Although weaker than Xeon at the moment, Star matched Xeon's consumption of energy blocks over the last 5 days. It also had 2 resource items and an even more precious resource in the underground foster zone. Under such an abundance of resources, Star's progress had even surpassed Xeon's. Its original growth progress, 77,63,2,0000, had in such a short time soared to 14,025,2,0000, increasing by more than 6,000 points. Considering that the effect of dark horseshoes is more reflected in Star's speed than its power, Star's actual enhancement would be more significant than it appears. Su Ran's earlier plan was accurate. While adding points is powerful, it barely keeps up with the speed at which the 2 pet beasts are improving. For the time being, other enhancement methods are needed. The beast master points in exchange for resources are the best supplementary method. You 2 wait for me. Seeing the rushed Xeon and Star, Su Ran followed them with a quick smile. The 3 of them quickly arrived at the foster area on the underground floor. So much time had passed since the start of the foster care services, and Su Ran had established a regular feeding schedule. Before opening the shop every day, at midday, and after the business closes in the afternoon, he feeds the lodgers at these 3-time slots. Taking into account the different habits of various pet beasts, he prepares their corresponding meals in advance or takes other measures to ensure that every pet beast feels at home. Because of this, the pet beasts in the shop are already familiar with Su Ran's feeding routine. When they had descended the staircase, the pet beast lodgers in the foster shop were already sitting in a row, waiting quietly. To avoid being the last one fed by Su Ran, even the most mischievous and warlike beast is behaving rather well at the moment. Soon, Su Ran walked out of the configuration room with big and small food bowls in his hands. Dinner time. Aru tilde. The frost dust wolf howled excitedly, rushed forward to sniff its bowl, and found its dinner in no time. Afterward, the other pet beasts successively grabbed their food bowls, found a spot they liked, and started eating. 29:30. Su Ran distributed the food while counting the number of pet beasts, then nodded to demonstrate his satisfaction. Everyone is here. The stone-armored dragon was taken away by Zhang Yun, who came back from work 2 days ago. After a day of not having enough lodgers, a new lodger moved in early in the morning, making the amount of fostered pet beasts in the shop reach its limit again. Su Ran opened his personal panel and took a look. Drug application sea level, 47500. Right after midnight today, the 30 experience points that will be credited will allow the drug application skill to be upgraded to B level, another piece of good news. Let's eat too. Seeing the hopeful gazes from Xeon and Star, Su Ran smiled, turned around and went back into the configuration room, carrying out the loving dinner he had prepared just for the 2 pet beasts. Both pet beasts had trained so hard, they naturally deserved to be given proper nutrition. As for himself, he picked up a bowl of dumplings, squatted on the ground, and started eating hastily. When everyone had finished eating, Su Ran collected the bowls, said goodbye to Star, and went straight to the living area on the 2nd floor with Xeon. During this period, he had not stopped meditating. The first meditation acceleration card had already expired, and now the second one had started working, continuing to accelerate his contract power improvement at 100 times the speed. According to his estimation, his contract power could successfully break through to the 3rd stage in about half a month. That night, the alarm clock he had set to go off at midnight rang. Su Ran opened his eyes in the middle of his meditation and read the text before them. Drug application experience plus 30. Drug application C level 47500. Drug application B level 2000. Drug application has been upgraded. Chapter 179, 124, another 10 in a row, stars evolution path. Good morning, Boss Su. It seems I am the first customer of the day. A middle-aged man with a gentle smile, quite amiable looking, followed by a slender, rather elongated fox, briskly walked into the store. I'd like my spirit fox to be cleaned and cared for. Mr. Joe, long time no see, no problem. Su Ran responded with a brilliant smile. The handsome man referred to as Mr. Joe has been to the Starfair foster care shop more than once. He looked at Su Ran in surprise, then chuckled. Boss Su seems in a good mood today. Indeed, Su Ran nodded slightly. There are some things to be happy about. In the early morning, after successfully upgrading the drug application skill to B level, he had already seen preliminary results from feeding the pet beasts before the shop opened for business. As a system skill associated with the fosterage service, the upgrade of the drug application skill did not make pet beasts more happy when tasting Su Ran's specially prepared pet beast food, thus gaining more pleasure value for Su Ran. However, it allowed Su Ran to gain more physical points during the feeding process. This morning's feeding process resulted in a total of 458 physical points. Feeding the same 30 inhabitants the previous evening earned only 329 physical points, enough to demonstrate the benefits of upgrading the drug application skill. And this news is a significant plus for Xian and Star, who are in urgent need of strength enhancement at the moment. But that wasn't the whole reason for Su Ran's good mood. The more critical reason came from the good news brought by the armored rhinoceros during the morning feeding session. The tiger hunting squad was back in town. After Xian's evolution was complete, Su Ran, who had followed the tiger hunting squad out of the Qingzhou city, did not go to find them again but returned to Qingzhou City earlier instead. But the tiger hunting squad had stayed outside the city the whole time, with the armored rhinoceros frequently being summoned away and then sent back. Now that the tiger hunting squad has safely returned, according to past practice, Lucky Liu should soon bring his winged lion dog for a wash and care routine at the shop. His pleasure value, accumulated over the past period, has once again reached the 95,000 points required for 10 consecutive drawing. In other words, there is a high probability he would be able to conduct another 10 consecutive drawing today. After making sure Mr. Joe's spirit fox was well groomed, and watching the satisfied departure of this man and his pet, Su Ran sat down in the shop, eagerly awaiting the person he had in mind. Uncle Liu, you're here. Before Liu Gu could greet him, Su Ran had already warmly greeted him. I'm here. Liu Gu couldn't help but give Su Ran a second look, his face bearing a complex expression. Before their joint departure from the city, Liu Gu had always thought that, although Su Ran had talent, he still needed Liu Gu's patronage when it came to strength. Xian's formidable strength, however, had clearly shown him how wrong his assumption had been. This younger beast master, unbeknownst to him, already possessed the ability to stand on his own. And this has made Liu Gu somewhat apprehensive about returning to the shop. Would it really be appropriate for a beast master, with even greater strength than his own, to serve his pet beast? Seeing Su Ran's amiable and enthusiastic smile again, Liu Gu's concerns quietly vanished. Perhaps this ease and comfort is precisely what sets little boss Su apart. Ah, I'm here. Thinking of this, Liu Gu recovered his usual hearty smile. Team leader Zhang tells me he's not sure whether you've acquired the resources you need. If not, we from the hunting squad might have gathered some you could use. Team leader Zhang is too kind. Su Ran thanked him. I've already obtained the resources that I need. How could I impose and take from the squad's achievements? Those are all your own earnings. You should divide them among yourselves. If that's so, Liu Gu took a closer look at Su Ran, noting his insistence before giving a slight nod. Then I'll relate that to team leader Zhang. The doggy has been doing great these few days. Trouble the boss to give it a good clean. No problem at all. The smile on Su Ran's face grew denser. He gave a follow-me look to the winged lion dog before turning and heading towards the grooming room. With the increase of Lucky Liu energy, he had vaguely found a pattern. That is, after washing and caring for Liu Gu's pet beasts then absorbing the Lucky Liu energy, his luck was better. So now Su Ran always washed and cared for Liu Gu's pet beasts first, and when he saw the man out, he would casually absorb some energy. Arf arf. Time for a wash, here I come. The winged lion dog, grubby and bloodstained after several days of battle, was panting, looking excited as it followed behind Su Ran and into the grooming room. Shortly after, traces of unrepressed caterwauling could be heard from inside the grooming room. Arf arf tilde. Take care, Uncle Liu. Under the strange gaze of Liu Gu, Su Ran once again casually patted the man's shoulder as if it were unintentional, then waved goodbye with a smile on his face. "Okay." Liu Gu nodded, turned around with the winged lion dog and left. They say that a genius beast master would always have quirks that set them apart from others. Perhaps liking to pat someone's shoulder while bidding farewell is one of little Boss Su's peculiarities. Okay, understood. On the other hand, as he watched the departing figures of the man and pet, the smile on Su Ran's face gradually broadened. Lucky Liu's performance was still constant today. Another purple from the 10 consecutive drawing. And Star would be thrilled this time, because what was drawn was the king species evolution path that had been longing for. But Su Ran neatly closed his eyes, sensing the two pet beasts training arduously in the training area. Chapter 180-124, another 10 in a row, Star's evolution path. Let's wait until they complete today's training before allocating new resources. Boss Su, washing and protection. Ah, here comes a customer. Seeing the customer walking in, Su Ran cheerfully responded and plunged back into his busy business. Time flew by quickly and soon, the 6-hour training of the two pet beasts came to an end. When Xian and Star returned to the first floor of the shop tiredly, Su Ran closed the shop door and with one sentence made both of them thrilled again. The new round of resources allocation begins. Meow, I want more Beast Master points this time. Xian, who only had a mere 4 points left, looked determined. With points, it can exchange for more resources to empower itself. Although the current resources can be enough for it to advance to the elite stage, the power gained after the breakthrough will not be wasted, but lead to a surge in improvement. As for other resources, it, having just completed its evolution, didn't need them as much as Star, who hasn't evolved yet. Remembering how Star had voluntarily stepped aside for its evolution before, Xian quickly gave the priority to Star without any hesitation. Zailu, will there be an evolution path this time? Star's eyes were filled with anticipation. There were so many things it wanted to exchange for. For it who has only conducted one skill fusion, it was in urgent need of the skill fusion stone and skill fragments to enhance its skills through further skill fusion. Without a single waning moon level skill, it desperately needed skill points to support the enhancement of its proficiency in addition to its hard training. However, none of these mattered to Star as much as the king species evolution route. With an evolution route, it would have a clear path to grow stronger, avoiding detours and focusing entirely on preparing for evolution. The good news is that we do have an evolution route this time. Su Ran grinned slightly and began writing on the small blackboard. Physical points, 3142 unallocated. Skill points, 540 unallocated. Skill fragments, 4 star plus 56 unallocated. Energy abundant potion, 1 bottle unallocated. Skill fusion stones, 8 unallocated. Beast master points, 4 Xian plus 4133 star plus 2128 unallocated. King species evolution route X1. The unallocated energy abundant potion and skill fusion stones were acquired together with the king species evolution route. Zailu, yay. Hearing Su Ran's words, Star's eyes lit up. Seeing the text on the last line of the blackboard made its eyes glow even brighter, like shining purple stars. Meow tilde, congratulations. Xian patted Star's shoulder and giggled happily. Being a king species itself, it naturally didn't need another evolution route. So the evolution Star had been yearning for was finally within reach. Star lowered its head to rub against Xian as a response, and then urged Su Ran to start with its eyes. Zailu, start exchanging. No problem, Su Ran smiled. The total value of unallocated resources this time is 7720 value points, so each of you will get 3860 value points. Now you can begin your exchange. Meow tilde, Star goes first. Unlike the previous anxious exchange, This time Xian immediately stated that Star should make the first choice without any hesitation. Star gratefully looked at Xian. Knowing that it was not the time to be modest, it didn't hesitate and quickly made its choice. Xilu, evolution route. Let's choose the evolution route first, then proceed with the other exchanges. Su Ran nodded with a slight smile. This choice was hardly surprising. When the king species evolution route was used on Star, just like the last time, many evolution paths appeared before Su Ran. Evolution path, Night Colt Dark, Right Arrow Night Horse Dark. Evolution difficulty. Evolution potential. Evolution path, Night Colt Dark, Right Arrow Night Soul Shock Dark. Evolution difficulty. Evolution potential. Evolution path. Select 5-star evolution potential. With the experience from last time, Su Ran was no longer clueless about how to make the choice. After receiving a positive response from Star, he didn't take long to lock onto the only evolution path among these with the 5-star evolution potential. Evolution path, Night Colt Dark, Right Arrow Star God Horse Dark. Evolution difficulty. Evolution potential. So it's a dark attribute evolution type. Su Ran's eyebrows twitched slightly. When he was searching earlier, he saw several evolution paths that could give Star a second attribute after evolution. However, the highest evolution potential of these paths was only 3 stars, and the lowest was only 1 star. Conversely, the evolution paths that did not change the attribute after evolution had a potential of 5 stars. Originally, because of Gu Wu's introduction to multi-attribute evolution, Su Ran subconsciously thought that increasing attributes after evolution was the most powerful. Now it seems that may not necessarily be the case. The most suitable one is the best. That's the one. With Su Ran's choice, other evolution paths disappeared, leaving only this one called Star God Horse. It unfolded under his tense and expectant gaze. Evolution path, Night Colt Dark, Right Arrow Star God Horse Dark. Evolution difficulty. Evolution potential. Evolution conditions. Night Colt has not yet broken through leadership stay. All of Night Colt's talent skills should be upgraded to 3-star skills before evolution. All 3-star skills achieve waning moon level proficiency. Evolution materials. Adult Night Demon Dragon Single Horn Mane, Dark Attribute King Stage Blood Essence Mane, Stardust Mane, Dark Stone Marrow Life Dewdrop, Transcendence Flower. The absence of the main material will necessarily result in evolution failure, and the absence of auxiliary materials will decrease the success rate of evolution. Evolution ritual. Gallop in pure darkness, elevate to the extreme before the last bit of strength is exhausted, and finally complete the evolution. Scanning the information about Star's evolution type in detail, a thoughtful expression surfaced on Su Ran's face. It's different. Compared to Xian's previous evolution path, there are significant differences in Star's evolution path. First off, the evolution conditions. Star's evolution conditions did not require mastering an additional 3-star skill, nor did it require tenacity, which is currently a common skill, to be upgraded to a dark attribute 3-star skill. From this perspective, Star's evolution conditions are relatively lax. But the difficulty for Star to meet these conditions has not decreased at all. Because it has a whopping 5 talent skills. Because it's inherently strong, it doesn't need to master additional 3-star skills. And because there are no new attributes after evolution, there are no extra requirements for common skills. Su Ran vaguely speculated a certain pattern, then turned his gaze to the evolution materials required for Star's evolution. Good news, 1 less material. Bad news, the difficulty of obtaining them is just as high. Of the 3 main evolution materials, Su Ran only knew about the dark attribute King Stage Blood Essence. The conditions and ways to obtain the other 2 main materials would require patient searching. As for the auxiliary materials, there were only 3 this time, and Life Dewdrop and Transcendence Flower were used when Xian evolved. This indirectly confirmed Su Ran's previous speculation about the purpose of auxiliary materials. As for the last piece of Dark Stone Marrow, Su Ran had seen it when he was exchanging resources for Star. The exchange was not difficult, but the price was not cheap. As for the last evolution ritual, Su Ran's eyebrows puckered slightly. After hearing Xian's evolution process, and realizing that even with thorough preparation, evolution is still so dangerous, he fully acknowledged the importance of evolution rituals. This seemingly odd thing could indeed help the pet beasts to accomplish the evolution more smoothly, so he must not take it lightly. But this time's evolution ritual doesn't seem as straightforward as before. Pure darkness, elevate to the extreme. Such words gave Su-Ran a somewhat bewildering feeling. Star's evolution is not simple. About your evolution, there's some good news and some bad news. Su-Ran took a deep breath and looked at Star. Xilu, what? Star blinked, its expression suddenly becoming nervous. Would there be complications with its evolution? The good news is that your beast master points should be enough to exchange for the required evolution materials. Su-Ran paused slightly. The bad news is that your requirements for skill fragments, skill fusion stones, and skill points will be difficult to satisfy in the short term. Xilu. Still 8,000 today, tears in my eyes. Chapter 181, 125, The First 3 Stars of Star. Knowing the full parameters of his evolution conditions, ingredients, and ceremony, the light faded from Star's eyes, which sparkled like purple crystals. Another horse that had lost its dreams. 5 3-star skills sounded like an impossible goal. Don't be too disheartened, Su-Ran said in an amused tone, stroking the fur on Star's neck for reassurance. It may take more time, but at least we have a direction right. Meow, guess that's the only way. Comforted by the beast master, Star's mood brightened a little, and his eyes flared with renewed determination. If the path of evolution is difficult, then he will take every step properly from now on. Meow, let's allocate the resources. Star set his gaze upon the blackboard before him, and unhesitatingly exchanged all the skill fragments, skill fusion stones, and skill points he had. These 3 items alone cost Star 1,900 value points, coupled with the 500 value points spent on exchanging the king species evolution path. Star only had 1,460 value points left. Meow, exchange for the energy-abundant potion, no need for physical points. Reviewing the remaining resources, Star made a quick decision. Despite having various training resources now, none could match the efficiency of an energy-abundant potion in improving skill proficiency. A bottle of that potion is always better than none. As for the physical points, they were the least needed for Star at the moment. Thanks to the resources exchanged with Beast Master points, Star's growth progression has been rapidly increasing. Preparing for evolution would take a long time, and advancing too quickly was not necessarily beneficial. Reaching the pinnacle and then delaying the breakthrough does have its benefits, but it's not without drawbacks. The longer the delay, the harder it might become to control the power, which could lead to an uncontrollable breakthrough. If Su-Ran's contract power wouldn't break through the 3rd stage within a short time, the forced repression through the beast-taming contract wouldn't be a concern. But considering Star's evolution difficulty and the current speed of Su-Ran's meditation, the probability of Su-Ran's contract power breaking through to the 3rd stage before Star meets the evolution conditions is quite high. Thus, Su-Ran may not be able to help with repression. Subsequently, Star exchanged the remaining 1,410 value points into Beast Master points. Xian, who had willingly yielded before, gladly claimed the remaining physical points and Beast Master points. Looking at the balance of 722 Beast Master points brought tears to Xian's eyes. No longer single digits. He could exchange for more energy blocks. With money comes the good stuff, this time all dual attribute. Alright, the allocation is over, now let's use these resources. Su-Ran smiled. Xian, what's your plan? Meow meow meow. Apply all points, exchange everything for dual attribute energy blocks. No problem, Su-Ran nodded and began to add points. Growth stage, elite stage, 26,843 plus. Growth stage, elite stage, 29,985 plus. Su-Ran can't help but raise an eyebrow as he noticed Xian is only a breath away from reaching the elite stage mastery. He then took out a dual attribute energy block and handed it to Xian. Here, eat this. Meow, what's the matter? Xian blinked in confusion, took the energy block and quickly ate it. Watching the growth progress on the panel rise little by little as Xian digested the energy block, reaching 30,030,000, Su-Ran nodded with satisfaction. His compulsive desire for perfection was satisfied. Meow tilde. Xian stretched lazily, understanding Su-Ran's intent then. At the moment when his growth stage progress reached its maximum, Xian felt the same limitation he had felt at the transcendent stage mastery. This feeling of being shackled and unable to improve his strength. Elite stage mastery. I'll open a thunder attribute area for you in the foster area later. You've just made such a leap in strength, make sure to practice more. Su Ran gave a casual reminder, then opened the Beast Master Points exchange panel. Xian can exchange all his Beast Master Points for 48 dual attribute energy blocks. Having already used more than half of his previous energy blocks, this compensated for his consumption. Of course, Xian's balance also. You only have 2 Beast Master Points left, Su Ran tells Xian, shrugging. Meow tilde. Xian was on the verge of tears. The experience of wealth is always short-lived. Since we are here, let's exchange the evolution materials for Star. Su Ran clicked to open the other exchange list. Dark Stone Marrow requires 200 points for exchanging. Life Dewdrop requires 60 points for exchanging. Transcendence Flower requires 50 points for exchanging. Combining all the auxiliary materials for evolution, due to the higher price of Dark Stone Marrow, the points spent on these 3 items were even more than what Xian had spent on his 4 items earlier. But Star was not short of this small amount. Including all the points he received today, Star's Beast Master Points had reached 5543. Next is the main material. Su Ran started to search individually for the main resources needed for evolution. He couldn't find the horn of an adult night demon dragon, an item Su Ran hadn't heard of before. However, when he was searching for the dark attribute King Stage Blood Essence, Su Ran not only found it smoothly, but also got the news of the night demon dragon. Star, Su Ran sighed, I found the dark attribute King Stage Blood Essence for exchange. The exchange price is same as the previous Thunder attribute 1, 800 points. But Chapter 182, 125, the first 3 stars of Star. This drop of blood essence comes from the night demon dragon. Xilu, what do you mean? Star Prime blinked, a little confused. Night demon dragon, this seems to be related to its first primary resource, right? The blood essence also comes from the night demon dragon. That sounds like a good thing, doesn't it? This means that the night demon dragon can reach the king stage. Seeing that Star Prime still hadn't sensed the problem, Su Ran sighed and lightly tapped its head. Xilu. Star Prime's eyes widened suddenly. Now it understood. The night demon dragon could advance to the king stage, signifying it belonged to the king species. Then, the single horn of a mature night demon dragon. Things are not so bad. Su Ran gently consoled the worried Star Prime. The night demon dragon is indeed a king species, but it doesn't mean that it only matures upon reaching the king stage. Normally, a night demon dragon at the general stage is already considered mature. So the single horn of the general stage, Su Ran paused mid-sentence, falling to silence. The single horn of a general stage night demon dragon, even though it ranked lower than the king stage one. Still, it didn't sound cheap. Su Ran gnashed his teeth in vexation. Originally, he thought the night demon dragon was a leader species. So, if traces of them were found outside the city, after Xian broke through to the leader stage, she probably could kill one by herself and get its horn. Now it looks like this plan is a no-go. By the time Xian breaks through to the general stage, it will be too late. Resources from transcendent beings, unlike the naturally occurring heart of the Thunderstone, are near impossible to acquire on your own without sufficient power. We can only hope that there are people willing to part with them, perhaps exchange at the Beast Master Association. The first option is unlikely. After all, in the entire Kingju City, apart from Senior Gu, there wouldn't be others who possess the strength to kill a creature of the general stage. As for the later, the Beast Master Association in Kingju City might not have such items for exchange. We would have to go to other cities. Thought flashed through Su Ran's mind, reminding him of Senior Gu's previous invitation. If Senior Gu were to escort him the entire way, ensuring safety, he could go to Xian City and exchange for the matured Night Demon Dragon's horn. That seemed like a pretty good plan. Initially, Su Ran had no need to go to Xian City, but now that he had obtained the evolutionary path, he had a new requirement. So that's the plan for now. When Senior Gu returns next time, let him know. As for the last main evolutionary resource, Stardust, Su Ran had not found it yet. But based on Xian's previous evolution, the arrangement of the 3 main materials is ordered according to their value. The value of star dust should be lower than the dark attribute King Stage Blood Essence, which is relatively rare. Firstly, see if he could exchange it in Kingju City. If not, he could just exchange it when he gets to Xian City. With a plan in mind, Su Ran let out a sigh of relief. Upon comparison, it seemed that gathering the evolution materials for Star Prime is going to be a bit easier than Xian. For what he currently could not exchange, he could always go to Xian City for it. Next, it's skill fusion. Su Ran took a deep breath. I just hope you have better luck in fusing skills next time. Otherwise, 5 3-star skills will require too many skill fusion stones. Meow tilde. Xian nodded in agreement. Before Star Prime had even signed a contract, it had already used quite a bit of skill fusion stones. It barely managed to meet the waning moon level evolution conditions with 4 3-star skills before evolving. The evolution conditions for Star Prime now are even more difficult. It's going to be a tough journey. Xilu, let's first fuse Night Hunting Pupil into a 3-star skill. Star Prime took a deep breath, tightly shut its eyes, and a look of nervousness appeared on its face. This was currently its only fused skill. Instead of fusing with other skills first, it was better to step up this skill to 3 stars first. All right. Su Ran nodded slightly, opened the dark attribute skills and general skills, and started to find the 2-star skill with the highest fusion success rate with Night Hunting Pupil. At the moment, Star Prime had reached 60 skill fragments. Exchanging for a 2-star skill was not a problem. Soon, Su Ran locked onto a 2-star skill, named Night Hunt in the Dark Attribute Skills exchange list. To his surprise, this skill was not one that increased visual acuity. Its effect was to lock onto an opponent and temporarily gain their line of sight. Tracking Huh. If it weren't for the visible fusion probability, Su Ran would never have thought that such a skill could be fused with Night Hunting Pupil. But upon closer thought, it was quite promising. 2-star Night Hunt plus 2-star Night Hunting Pupil. Fusion success rate, 6.1%. Proceed to fusion. Yes, no. Fuse. Under the tense atmosphere of 1 man and 2 beasts, 4 stones went down. Fusion success. 2-star Night Hunting Pupil Starlight level, 214,500 plus. Night Inspection Starlight level, 214/500 plus. Success. A satisfied smile emerged on Su Ran's face. 4 out of 9 were successful. It was rather good luck. On the other side, Star had a slightly stunned expression. While a large amount of information emerged in his mind, he also felt an uncontrollable joy from within his body, as if a shackle was broken and his life level was elevated. Xian had experienced this feeling several times, but for Star, it was the first. Finally, he had his first 3-star skill. Gradually coming back to his senses, Star couldn't hold back from lifting his front hoofs, letting out an excited neigh. Xilu, great. There are still 4 skill fusion stones left, and they still have 20 skill fragments. Su Ran's voice paused for a moment. Should I also take the opportunity to advance tenacity to 2 stars? As he spoke, he casually opened Star's panel. Contract Pet Beast Star. Race Name Night Colt. Attribute Darkness. Growth Stage Elite Stage 14,625/20,000 plus. Race Stage Leader Stay. Skills Night Inspection Starlight Level Plus. Twilight Watch Starlight Level Plus. Star Chain Starlight Level Plus. Night Song Starlight Level Plus. Nightfall Starlight Level Plus. Tenacity Starlight Level Plus. Self-Healing Power Starlight Level Plus. The Tenacity skill, due to the recent lack of energy-abundant potions, has improved at a faster speed and is now the fastest training skill of Star. Upgrading it to 2 stars would also help Star's subsequent training. Xilu Splendid. Star had no objections to Su Ran's arrangement. The skill fusion was fortunate today, so they had to seize the opportunity. Su Ran nodded slightly, then opened the 1-star skills from the dark and common skills and began to select one. After a moment, his eyes settled on a 1-star skill named Night Capture. This skill is quite interesting, huh? Looking at the series introduction of this 1-star skill, Su Ran's eyes gradually brightened. Although 1-star skills are a bit out of sight for Xian and Star, there are some interesting skills hidden among them. Like the one in front of him. Night Capture speeds up the absorption of darkness power to recover itself in a nocturnal environment. This skill combined with tenacity should result in a fun effect. Night capture plus tenacity. Fusion success rate 15.2%. Proceed with fusion. Yes, no. The fusion was successfully completed with the use of 2 fusion stones. Tenacity Starlight level plus. Long Night Starlight level plus. That's it for today, Su-Ran grinned. Although there are still 2 skill fusion stones left, and there is hope to promote self-healing power to 2 stars, prioritizing the promotion of other skills to 3 stars is higher. And 2 fusion stones are not enough for those skill fusions. As for the skill points like Xion, it's a bit of a loss to allocate them right now. They should be kept until the evolution is nearly complete, and then allocate to where it is needed. In the end, Su-Ran modified the blackboard after distribution. Skill points, 540 points star. Skill fragments, 10 pieces star. Energy abundant potion, 1 bottle star. Skill fusion stone, 2 pieces star. Beast master points, 2 points Xion, plus 4433 points star. It was another day where only Xion was poor in the whole world. The author has escaped from the pet hospital to update everyone. We'll discuss the detailed circumstances in the next leave note. There will be another chapter later, around 12 o'clock. Friends who want to sleep early can read tomorrow. Chapter 183, 126. Disappearance Incident. Don't forget the initial intention. Boss Su, is Boss Su there? Outside the closed door, a somewhat familiar voice called out. Su-Ran followed the sound and quickly spotted a familiar figure standing outside the door. Having called out twice without a reply, the individual quickly stepped forward, about to knock on the door, but Su-Ran rushed forward to greet, Elder Zhang, I'm here. Oh. Zhang Heier saw Su-Ran step forward to open the door and quickly pulled back his hand which had intended to knock, scratching his head in a nonchalant manner. So you were here after all. Yes, I was occupied with something. Su-Ran smoothly tucked the small blackboard away into a corner. Elder Zhang, is there something you need? Xion and Star, who were initially about to head downstairs to test their improved powers, glanced at each other and halted their steps, perking up their ears to listen in. Hey, nothing much. Zhang Heier broke into a smile, just that the care and grooming activity for the stray pet beasts that took place a few days ago is now concluded, right? That's right, Su-Ran nodded. Every stray pet beast under Boss Cat had completed a round of care and grooming. Given that they had been roaming around Qingzhou City for some time, these stray pet beasts probably make up all of the stray pet beasts in Qingzhou City. The cleaning services for subsequent stray pet beasts won't be as frequent. If done sporadically, cleaning an average of 1 pet a day would suffice. The issue of stray pet beasts has always been a headache for the Beast Master Association, and now that it's fully resolved, many beast masters in the association are delighted. Reaching this point, a puzzled expression crossed Zhang Heier's face, so they decided to reward you. A reward? Su-Ran's eyes lit up. There's no need to go through any trouble directly. Zhang Heier seemed to already guess what Su-Ran was going to say, so he quickly interrupted by bringing out a banner from behind him. This is the association's reward. Just a banner. A hint of disappointment crossed Su-Ran's face. Not exactly. There's also a prize money of 100,000. Zhang Heier glanced at the price list on the wall. However, I suspect Boss Su might not fancy this amount. How can that be? I believe that the cash reward has more value than. As Su-Ran was talking, he unfurled the banner in his hands only to suddenly quiet when he saw the large words on it, is less valuable than this banner. His expression was instantly filled with righteousness. The association is too kind. I've just performed some trivial tasks, and I feel embarrassed accepting such a reward. Hee, this is what you deserve. Zhang Heier fake laughed. A twitch appeared at the corner of his mouth and seemed to see through everything already. In that case, I'll accept this reward, all the while feeling a bit shameless. Su-Ran was overjoyed and promptly hung the banner in the most conspicuous spot in the shop. The words on the banner, Qingzhou City's excellent fosterage shop, were clearly displayed. Just by hanging this banner alone, which beast master wouldn't step inside to take a look? Su-Ran loved this reward. I came here this time to deliver the banner on behalf of the association, but I also have a personal favor to ask. Zhang Heier said after a pause. Is Boss Su busy now? If not, could you provide a care and grooming session for my giant gold eagle? Frankly speaking, Zhang Heier was not very interested in pet grooming before this. But given that the recent 5-day stray pet beast grooming event was initiated because of him, it caught his attention. The transformation of the pet beasts before and after grooming genuinely left him astonished. And as he was watching, he couldn't resist the idea of arranging for his own pet beast a grooming session. The giant gold eagle was at the cusp between a large pet beast and a super large pet beast, with a wingspan reaching 10 meters. Going by the pricing for large pet beasts, a grooming session at Starfair Pet Shop would cost over $60,000. Although he, being a leadership-level beast master, had funds, he had never indulged in such extravagant grooming before. Of course, no problem. Su-Ran glanced at the hanging clock. The Foster shop was still open for business. Naturally, he couldn't turn away a customer at the door, especially a familiar one. Su-Ran looked at the giant gold eagle that was curiously poking its head in through the door. Race, giant gold eagle. Attribute, wind attribute, earth attribute. Growth stage, leadership stay. Body type, large size. Maintenance need. Evaluation. The minimalist, son of wind, soaring in the skies, believes wind can clean itself. Please let the host use his hands and passion to show it the gentle charm of water. Come in. He gestured for the giant gold eagle to enter the shop, then led it to the grooming room. Xian and Star moved forward to take a look at the banner, then feeling somewhat uninterested, walked together towards the back gate and headed down to the foster area on the basement level. Their powers having just been greatly enhanced, they needed to familiarize themselves with their newfound power as soon as possible. Inside the grooming room, Su-Ran donned his gloves, looked at the still curious giant gold eagle and gave a half smile. All right, lie down now. It's time for your grooming. Cautilda. The giant gold eagle nodded agreeably and lay neatly on the grooming platform after retracting its wings. And just like that, the grooming session officially started. The prepared bath cleanser, at just the right warm temperature, was sprayed gently and evenly onto the body of the giant gold eagle, quickly soaking its slender golden wings. Following that, the tiny, fine down feathers hidden under the mane feathers got wet too, sticking tightly to the muscular body of the giant gold eagle. Chapter 184-126, Disappearance Incident. Don't forget the initial intention. It was a peculiar sensation, akin to being gently pressed by a palm. The giant golden eagle's body shuddered slightly. This unprecedented sensation left it momentarily stupefied. As Su-Ran continued to wet it, the plush down deep within the giant golden eagle's feathers was thoroughly soaked. Under the washing of the water, the down clung to its body and gently swayed, as if countless hands were stroking the eagle's body. This peculiar sensation caused the giant golden eagle to narrow its sharp eyes contently, a few hints of comfort emerging on its face. Cretilda. Pleasure value from the giant golden eagle plus 15. Pleasure value from the giant golden eagle plus 15. From observing the familiar arrival of pleasure points, Su-Ran's gaze towards the giant golden eagle gradually became affectionate. Having just completed a 10 consecutive drawing, Su-Ran, who had allocated all his accumulated resources, was as poor as could be now. Pleasure value, the more the merrier. HSSS. Despite having seen the remarkable contrast of many stray pet beasts before and after washing and protection at the Starfair foster care shop, and having certain expectations in his heart, Zhang Heyer was still astounded when he saw his own giant golden eagle rejuvenated under Su-Ran's seemingly magical hands. This eagle, Zhang Heyer quickly walked up to his giant golden eagle, circled around it, incessantly clicking his tongue in amazement. Previously, his daily ride on the majestic giant golden eagle had already aroused much envy from his colleagues at the association. And now, thinking about the scene of him riding on the back of the giant golden eagle with every feather gleaming post-grooming, and returning to the association to a crowd of onlookers, Zhang Heyer felt blissful to the point of exhilaration. The washing and protection, it was worth it. Boss Su, thank you so much. Without any hesitation, Zhang Heyer paid by scanning the QR code. I can't wait to ride on its back and soar in the sky. Please, Su-Ran smiled. He had never seen any customer dissatisfied with his grooming service. The genuine smiles and surprise on his customers' faces after grooming was motivating for him as well. Of course, this would not lead to him reducing the charges for his customers by a single cent. There's no time to lose then. Just as Zhang Heyer was about to bid farewell, his phone rang with an urgent tone. Hearing this specially set ringtone, his relaxed smile quickly faded and he walked to a corner of the store to answer the call. Hello, this is Zhang Heyer. A moment later, the Zhang Heyer who had returned after ending the call was filled with anger. Those despicable guys, damn them. Elder Zhang, what happened? Curiosity got the better of Su Ran. Could you tell me if it's convenient? Sure. Zhang Heyer nodded slightly, although his expression remained grave. At the beginning of this month, a blatant criminal gang appeared within Qingzhou City. They targeted underage individuals for their kidnappings. In just half a month, they have succeeded 3 times, and the missing individuals still haven't been found. So they're kidnapping for money. Su Ran's expression became serious. If their aim is money, they should have reached out to the victim's family, right? From the current situation, it seems their goal is not money. That's the most troublesome part. Zhang Heyer shook his head. We can only be sure that they are still in Qingzhou City and they couldn't have gotten away. Other than that, we have no leads. Su Ran nodded slightly, his expression growing solemn. Who would have thought that even in this supernatural world where beast masters exist, there would be? Wait a minute, beast masters. Su Ran's mind stirred. Those criminals, they must be beast masters too, right? Correct, Zhang Heyer nodded. Ordinary people would not be able to perfectly hide their tracks from beast masters. Even for beast masters, it's quite difficult to achieve this. At their crime scenes, strong figures from our association discovered a resource called star dust, which has an effect of hiding tracks and aura. Under normal circumstances, we can take this as a breakthrough and identify them through the Beast Master Association. However, the other party did not register at the Beast Master Association. At this point, Zhang Heyer failed to notice Su Ran's gaze, which was gradually turning odd. He couldn't help but sigh, grit his teeth, and give the counter a hard thump. Just now, that damnable fellow got away with it again. The impact of this incident has already been devastating, leading the Beast Master Association to expand its scope of investigation. Zhang Heyer paused slightly. Originally, there were only 4 leadership-level Beast Masters involved in the investigation and pursuit. Now, all the leadership-level Beast Masters in Qingzhou City are required to keep an eye out for this incident in their spare time. Anyone who manages to capture the criminal will be greatly rewarded. Don't pass on what I've said so far. Zhang Heyer glanced at Su Ran and advised him, the situation is not yet ready to be completely public. I understand. Su Ran suddenly spoke up, Elder Zhang, can I be involved too? Huh, Zhang Heyer was clearly taken aback by Su Ran's suggestion. An astonished expression appeared on his face. You want to join in too? Yes. Su Ran nodded, his face gradually clouded with a sense of justice. Such an evil criminal poses a great threat to the entire city. As a member of Qingzhou City, I have a duty to help. Zhang Heyer fell silent. He looked at Su Ran with complex eyes. The fact that the other party wanted to get involved at this point caught him off guard. He had always believed that Su Ran's work in washing and grooming stray pet beasts was merely a publicity stunt for his shop. Could it be that he misinterpreted things? Was Boss Su really a righteous citizen with a strong sense of responsibility? Entertaining this possibility, Zhang Heyer felt a bit guilty all of a sudden. However, this matter, it's too dangerous. Zhang Heyer shook his head. Based on our prediction, the criminal is likely to be a leadership-level beast master as well, which allows him to kidnap victims right under the nose of these strong figures. Both my pet beasts are at the elite stage. One of them has even evolved into the king species. It may not be able to face a leadership level, but it should at least be able to defend itself. Su Ran spoke calmly. My other pet beast can provide a boost. Moreover, it has a very powerful visual skill, which can assist in the search. Zhang Heyer was touched. King species. Despite appearing to be not that strong, Boss Su actually managed to make one of his pet beasts evolve. And what about his other pet beast that possesses supportive and investigative skills? Zhang Heyer, who initially intended to firmly reject the request, wavered now. There are less than 20 leadership-level beast masters in Qingzhou City. Their pet beasts differ from each other, but they are lacking in investigative skills. This was the reason why the Beast Master Association has been unable to find the criminal for such a long time. And now, maybe it's worth giving it a shot. Filled with anticipation, Zhang Heyer took a deep breath. I'm not the one to make this decision, just wait. I will report this to the association. After finishing speaking, he turned and walked to a corner to make a call. While Zhang Heyer was on the phone, Su Ran summoned his pet beast Xian and Star from downstairs using contractual sensing. The star dust is found, hurry up here. Zailu, so soon. Star paused for a moment, then sprinted toward the underground passage, his eyes filled with excitement. Could it finally gather another piece of its evolution resources? Meow tilde, I'll go and see too tilde. Upon stepping into the passage, a bolt of lightning appeared beside Star. Xian's eyes were blinking in eager anticipation. The last time it received resources, Star helped it quite a bit. It already had a plan to help whenever Star needed resources. Now its wish was finally fulfilled. By the time the two pet beasts appeared before Su Ran, Zhang Heier, who was on the phone requesting the Beast Master Association's guidance on the matter, also ended his call. The association agrees. He took the liberty of spending a bit more time looking at Su Ran's pet beasts, then slowly spoke up, "Boss Su, thank you for your help." "It's what I should do." Su Ran gave a slight smile. "If you want to thank me, you can mention the Starfair Foster Care Shop services in the newspaper after capturing the criminal." Zhang Heier. As expected, Boss Su never forgets his original intention. Chapter 185-127, The Tainted. Screech. Accompanied by a sharp and fierce cry, the giant gold eagle flapped its wings, causing a whirlwind. The creature suspended approximately about 1 meter off the ground, swept away the dust, and slowly landed on the ground. "We are here." Zhang Heier took the lead, jumping off the giant gold eagle's back with a serious expression, his eyes fixed on a building in front of him. "This is the crime scene." "All right." Su Ran, who followed Zhang Heier off the giant gold eagle, was enveloped by a hexagram star array. Xian and Star emerged from the whirlwind, curiously observing their surroundings. "The other leadership-level beast master should be faster than us." Zhang Heier glanced at his cell phone, obtaining information from the internal association chat group about the movements of other leadership-level beast masters. Those that could make it here have already completed their search of the crime scene and have begun an extensive search. With their involvement, those desperate criminals will surely be apprehended today. "In that case, we should pick up the pace." Su Ran's voice held a trace of urgency. "We've come this far, we can't let it be in vain." The bodies of this group of criminals were covered with star dust. If they were to be eliminated by other powerful beast masters, the matter of star dust would no longer concern him. All right." Zhang Heier looked at Su Ran a bit peculiarly. Little boss Su seemed eager to put on a show, probably aiming for a notable position in subsequent case reports to advertise for his foster shop. The only fault boss Su had was his obsession with advertising. "Let's move." Zhang Heier quickened his pace, commanding the giant gold eagle to rise into the sky and stand by. Behind him appeared the hexagram star array. From within a storm, a robust giant ape emerged. Its prominent leadership stage aura became apparent the moment it appeared. The familiar aura stirred Star into turning its head towards the creature. "Leader of the dark attribute species, the blood demon ape." "Little black," Zhang Heier uttered, and the aggressive aura of the blood demon ape immediately contracted. It scratched its head somewhat embarrassingly and showed Su Ran, Xian, and Star a friendly smile. Its crimson eyes no longer drove fear into people's hearts. Instead, they now appeared rather honest and naive. "As darkness approaches, Little Black's strength will be enhanced. He's enough help," Zhang Heier explained. "Okay." Su Ran waved at the blood demon ape as a form of greeting. Then he led the two pet beasts and followed Zhang Heier towards the building where the crime happened. Taking the elevator up to the 12th floor, they swiftly arrived at an empty room. "The missing person's name is Ding Wei, a 14-year-old girl," Zhang Heier, who had familiarized himself with the case files in advance, cautiously walked into the room and slowly started speaking. "Zailu, I can't get in." Star, who is over 2 meters tall, lowered his head and tried to enter, but then he groaned helplessly. "Darn it, being too big is indeed too inconvenient." "Roar hey." The blood demon ape managed to squeeze into the room, then teasingly squinted at Star. "Meow tilde." Xian covered its mouth with its paw and giggled softly. Then it jumped up and lightly patted Star's head as a gesture of comfort. "Are the criminals only kidnapping underage girls, or are there also boys?" Su Ran signaled Star to wait outside while asking. "Both genders." Zhang Heier, who had started searching the room, replied casually. He paused and then continued. "Ding Wei's parents were out working, but she was feeling unwell today, so she came home early from school. She was kidnapped by a transcendent being while alone at home. Her parents discovered something was wrong upon their return and reported it to us. Other beast masters found some clues in her home, but they were of little help to the progress of the case. Zhang Heyer gestured towards a wardrobe, for example here. Su Ran, following Zhang Heyer's lead, quickly moved forward and began to closely inspect the area. On the door of the wardrobe was a particularly clear scratch. The cut was smooth with no cracks around it. It seemed like it had been swiftly devoured by some powerful force. Such a mark is hard to attribute to any ordinary humans or objects without transcendent powers. On the contrary, it seems more likely to be the work of a transcendent being. On the inside of the scratch mark were tiny, shimmering fragments. Zhang Heyer casually pulled the curtains closed and then turned off the lights. Snap! In the pitch-dark room, the fragments on the wardrobe began to glow of their own accord, like countless scattered stars, creating an extremely radiant view. This is star dust. Zhang Heyer turned on the lights again. It can absorb transcendent energy and aura. Because of its existence, all the evidence left on this scratch by the criminal has been concealed. Could this star dust still be used if it's scraped off? Unexpectedly, Su Ran questioned. Zhang Heyer stuttered because of Su Ran's unusual line of thought, but still promptly responded. No. Star dust is a kind of pure and special resource. It can absorb aura and transcendent powers, but after the absorption, it is contaminated and cannot be used again. You saw it just now. The light emitted by the star dust contained obvious impurities, which symbolizes its contamination. Chapter 186, 127, The Tainted. Understood, Su Ran nodded slightly regretfully. Seems like he still needed to find that group of criminals and obtain pure star dust from their hands. Next, Zhang Heyer led Su Ran to several unusual traces. The criminals were very cautious, each trace shone with the sparkle of star dust. After a round of search, both of them returned to the entrance of the house looking dejected. The crime scene is probably like this. Have you looked around this area? Su Ran, recalling some crime investigation dramas from his previous life, suddenly spoke. The criminal may not have completely left the scene. How could this be possible? Zhang Heyer couldn't help but reveal a surprised expression. Su Ran looked at Zhang Heyer, who appeared confused, and a vague suspicion formed in his heart. This world is very different from the last one in many respects. In terms of public order, the Beastmaster Association often deploys powerful beastmasters to maintain the law and order. While these beastmasters were indeed powerful, their lack of professional training created significant gaps in criminal investigations. For example now, he simply mentioned a somewhat superficial possibility, but Zhang Heyer was clueless. Earlier, Elder Zhang mentioned that the criminals were part of a group, not individuals. Su Ran patiently explained, and they didn't just carry out a single criminal act, there have been several before. In such a scenario, it's very likely that they will continue their criminal activities. Su Ran paused slightly and turned to Zhang Heyer, listening attentively. If you were the criminal, Elder Zhang, would you seek information on the association's moves for the success of the next crime? Well, even though I haven't done such things before, but from the criminal's perspective, I should be considering who from the association is investigating this matter. Zhang Heyer felt curious and nodded after serious consideration. The best way to understand their operations is to keep watch around the crime scene. Su Ran explained, because the person responsible for the investigation from the association will definitely come here. So, Zhang Heyer's face gradually grew grave, his voice dropping a few decibels. You are saying part of the criminals may be observing us in secret. I think so, we can give it a try. Su Ran nodded slightly. Elder Zhang, your giant gold eagle has a 1-star skill of dynamic vision, right? It just so happened that this skill was plucked out when they were washing and protecting before. Yes, Zhang Heyer nodded. What's your plan? Su Ran's detailed analysis earlier made Zhang Heyer unconsciously more trusting of him. I indeed have a plan. It may not work, but we can give it a shot. Su Ran pondered for a moment. Later, Elder Zhang, you let your giant gold eagle continue to hover high in the sky, initiating dynamic vision to observe the surroundings. Then we will return to the empty space we just reached and make some noise. Fine, let's give your plan a try. Zhang Heyer was not very good at investigating cases, being just a delivery man, and naturally he'd defer to Su Ran's ideas. After discussing quickly, they soon left the crime scene's house. Su Ran was mounted on Star's back, accompanied by Star's neigh. The star chain materialized instantly, and the pair with their 3 beasts proceeded casually towards the clearing. Elder Zhang, these criminals are too detestable. They didn't leave any clues at all. On reaching the open space, Su Ran deliberately raised his voice, complaining. If it wasn't like this, the association would not send so many leadership-level beast masters. Zhang Heyer shook his head reluctantly. But there's no need to worry too much. The association will carry out a carpet search in the entire Qingzhou city tomorrow. They won't escape. After saying this, Zhang Heyer's eyes flickered and he shot Su Ran a look. Something was happening. A smile crept up in Su Ran's eyes. These criminals couldn't keep their cool, could they? The conversation between the two was premeditated. First, they expressed they had no leads, which lessened the enemy's vigilance, and then mentioned the deployment of powerful beast masters by the association. If the criminals had been stalking all along, they would have surely noticed this. Hearing their conversion would only make the criminals believe in the credibility of their dialogue all the more. Then came the fabricated story of a blanket search by the association tomorrow. With the previous groundwork, the criminals would certainly lose their nerve, thinking of rushing back to inform the other gangs, thereby exposing themselves. That direction, approximately 400 meters. With feedback from the giant gold eagle in the sky, Zhang Heyer quickly provided the exact location of the suspects. Good. Su Ran opened the star chain with his eyes closed and then slowly opened them. His eyes turned completely black, and it seemed as if countless dark chains were twining and rotating in his pupils. Zhang Heyer only took one look, then quickly averted his gaze, silently shocked. Such a terrifying feeling, the moment their eyes met, he felt as if he was completely locked in, unable to escape. Opening his eyes, Su Ran turned his head to look in the direction pointed out by Zhang Heyer. A figure speeding in a certain direction with a cleverly concealed aura, incapable of escaping the surveillance of Su Ran's eyes, had entered his field of vision. In a brief instant, the figure covered a distance of about 200 meters, a rather amazing speed. However, gotcha. The black chains in Su Ran's pupils twisted quickly. Only he could see the locked-on mark appearing over the figure's head. In the next moment, Su Ran momentarily gains the figure's field of vision. 3-star skill, Starlight level night inspection. Star, let's go. With a low growl, Su Ran clamped his thighs tightly around Star's belly. Zilulu. Star neighed once, and dark patterns rapidly appeared all around its body, quietly blending into the dark of night, like a ghost in the darkness quickly setting off. By its side, bolts of electricity emitted from Ziyun's body, instantly activating step on electric traces. Wait, I also. Zhang Heyer was about to call for the giant gold eagle to land and follow Su Ran when he was vetoed by the latter. You just need to trail far behind me, ready to intervene whenever. Su Ran waved him off. The giant gold eagle is quite conspicuous. All right then, be careful. Watching Su Ran disappear into the night, Zhang Heyer slightly shook his head, waited for a while before calling the giant gold eagle to follow. Star, activate long night. Trailing thousands of meters behind the criminal, Su Ran's expressions were quite calm. The criminal's pet beast, it seemed, was a beast known for its speed among the leadership stage beasts, thus it was much faster than Star. There was no way Star could catch up at its speed. But Su Ran had no intentions of catching up either. After all, he was not yet a match for a leadership-level beast master. All he had to do was keep track of the figure's location. If nothing went wrong, the figure's final destination would be the criminal's hideout. Wouldn't it be nice to wipe them all out in one fell swoop? Zilulu. As Star neighed, a dark glow enveloped it like black holes, devouring the transcendent power in its surroundings, recovering Star's power quickly. Once tenacity was promoted to 2 stars and transformed into the brand new skill Long Night, it was able to enhance its original effects of tenacity and night capture, providing Star with more endurance while absorbing the dark powers in the surroundings actively to accelerate its recovery. Currently, its recovery could cover nearly 70% of the power it consumed. Following this trend, once Long Night was promoted to 3 stars or even higher, Star might potentially become a perpetual motion machine in the real sense. Meow tilde go go go. Ziyun, who panted after having run for some time, was casually lying on Star's back, recovering its own strength. As time ticked away, Su Ran's expression slightly changed. The marked criminal had entered the bottom of an abandoned factory. Is that the hideout? Su Ran turned around to wave at the sky behind him. Zhang Heyer promptly appeared on the back of the giant gold eagle. What's the matter? "We've found the criminal's hideout. We should call the other leadership-level strongmen too." Su Ran's expression looked a bit stern. The number of people on their side is a bit much. Chapter 187, 128. Golden Eagle turns into sand sculpture. Is this the place? At Su Ran's direction, Zhang Heyer quickly settles onto the rooftop of a skyscraper 2 kilometers from the enemy base, eyeing the target location with a hint of seriousness. Over there, Su Ran nods slightly. The lock given by the night inspection has faded, but there were at least 4 powerful beast masters seen through the enemy's vision. They might not all be leadership-level beast masters, but just to be safe, he'd called for backup to make it more secure. "I've called in 7 leadership-level beast masters," Zhang Heyer smirks. "Good thing I'm well-liked. We should have this in the bag now." Hearing that Zhang Heyer brought so many people, Su Ran immediately felt a surge of safety, and his smile relaxed. After standing in place and waiting for a bit, the reinforcements began to arrive one by one. They didn't stand together with Zhang Heyer, rather, they had been communicated priori to covertly arrive at various positions around the abandoned factory, forming a loose ring around the criminals' hideout from several kilometers away. Everyone else arrived. When the last reinforcement arrived safely, Zhang Heyer looked at Su Ran beside him. "When do we begin?" Now, Su Ran, riding Star, activated his star chain for the entirety of the mission, casting night inspection to monitor the abandoned factory's location. Perhaps it was due to the fake tip-off that they had passed on to the enemy. In the abandoned factory, faint shadows of figures were beginning to emerge. They could not afford to delay. Regardless of what the enemy's plan was, now was the most suitable moment to spring the ambush. "No problem." Zhang Heyer gives a quick nod, perched atop the giant gold eagle. Accompanied by a fierce cry like a golden rainbow in the black of night, they sped towards the enemy's base. Other beast masters who received the message also started to demonstrate their moves, each releasing their powerful aura and charging out from their respective positions. The still of the night shattered in an instant. Boom! Soon, continuous roars sounded from the direction of the abandoned factory, mingled with faint screams and roars. The forces of the two sides finally clashed head-on. "We'll also set off." Su Ran lightly tapped Star's neck. "We can't let anyone else get the star dust." "Zai-Lu-Lu, for the star dust charge." With a spirited roar, Star leapt off the rooftop. Ding! Carrying Su Ran and Xian, its massive body twisted agilely midair, front hooves striking the outer wall of a skyscraper. Accompanied by the tumbling ripples of the darkness, Star ran as if on level ground, perpendicular to the ground. It quickly, and in an orderly fashion, reached the ground before accelerating towards the base where the fierce fighting was taking place. 2 star skills, Starlight level Night Song. Under the curtain of night, it moved without inhibitions. Sitting on Star's back, Su Ran continued to exercise the night inspection, watching the fierce battle unfold ahead. The association's vigorous onslaught showed no signs of surprise. Among the enemy's crime syndicate, there were 3 leadership-level beastmasters and 2 elite-level beastmasters, in total 5 people. Facing the impending attack from Zhang Heyer and 7 other leadership-level beastmasters, they quickly fell into disadvantage. The 2 elite-level beastmasters were almost immediately subdued. The remaining 3 leadership-level beastmasters were still stubbornly resisting, but by the time Su Ran arrived, their pet beasts had been successively killed. They had lost the power to resist. "Elder Zhang, I'm going in to check for any remaining criminals," Su Ran shouted, leading Star and Xian straight into the interior. Having previously established their location and surveyed the scene, he was certain no enemies remained inside the base. "Stardust, here I come." "Ah, this." Zhang Heyer, who had just helped subdue a leadership-level beastmaster with several others, opened his mouth to say something as he watched Su Ran charge inside, but then just kicked the subdued beastmaster. "Behave yourself." Stardust. On the underground floor of the abandoned factory, Su Ran began searching swiftly and soon found an alloy box in the deepest room. Opening the alloy box, a glass bottle, the size of a 500-milliliter water bottle, was filled with large quantities of silver dust. This dust in the dark was emitting a bright and soft glow. Unlike the colored mixture he had seen earlier, the glow of the dust in front of him was pure and strangely tranquil. With one look, Su Ran knew this was the star dust. "Zai-Lu-Tilda, so much." Star stared wide-eyed, captivated by the starlight reflected in her purple crystal-like eyes, and her eyes were full of joy. They've gathered another item for evolution. There must be nearly 10 servings here. After briefly sensing the overwhelming transcendent power within, Su-ran showed a satisfied smile. Casually putting the glass bottle into his pocket, he mounted Star's back and turned to leave. "Boss Su, did you find anything?" At the same time, Zhang Heyer brought several other elite fighters into the factory. Upon meeting face to face, Zhang Heyer asked, "There are no other criminals left." Su-ran replied with a poker face, pointing to another room. "The victims they had taken captive should all be in there. None of them are in life-threatening danger. If there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. Remember to mention our shop's accompanying training service in your report." Having said this in rapid succession, not waiting for any response, Su-ran rode off on Star with Xian in his arms, leaving Zhang Heyer and the others looking at each other, baffled. Chapter 188-128, Golden Eagle Turned into Sand Sculpture. "Did you guys notice the bulging thing in his arms just now?" One of the leadership-level beast masters said, an odd expression on his face. "Forget it, if it weren't for Boss Su's help, we might still be groping around in the dark." Another leadership-level beast master chuckled. "Let's just pretend we didn't see anything. Nothing beats seeing in person. Boss Su sure loves advertising. This small matter aside, let's hurry up and save people." Zhang He coughed youthfully, quickly changing the subject and leading the others inside. "Stardust got it." Back in the shop, Su-ran's face was full of delight as he held the newly acquired, still warm star dust over his head. Star was also overjoyed. They had obtained a piece of resource without spending any beast master points. At this moment, it understood the joy Xian felt when she got the power bone dust. That was the happiness of getting something for nothing. "It's getting late, I'll keep the star dust for Star. Let's rest early." Su-ran smiled as he stored the star dust. Hopefully, Elder Zhang won't come asking for it tomorrow. If everything had gone as expected, his small trick would not have escaped the eyes of the few leadership-level beast masters. They were just choosing to turn a blind eye. But that was just temporary. Once the arrested criminals confessed their crimes, the matter with the star dust would certainly not remain hidden. If the Beast Master Association does not pursue the matter, then he would have no qualms about keeping the star dust. If the Beast Master Association wants to retrieve it, that is also fine. He could just redeem them with Beast Master points if it came to that. It's not a big deal. "Boss Su, you really did move quickly." The next morning, a smiling Zhang He appeared in the Starfare foster care shop, getting straight to the point. "That big bottle of star dust, you took all of it." Cough cough. Even with Su-ran's thick skin, he was feeling a bit embarrassed. "I just picked it up while passing by." "Take it." Seeing Su-ran's embarrassed expression, Zhang He laughed. "Anyway, stardust is not that valuable, it's just rare. It's a resource extracted from the meteor." "Then I will thank the association for this." Su-ran smiled. "Did the criminal gang confess?" "Yes." Zhang He nodded slightly, his smile gradually faded, and his expression became serious. "It would have been fine if they didn't confess, but once they did, the whole Beast Master Association was in an uproar." "Ah," Su-ran blinked. "Is there something more to this matter?" "Yes." Zhang He nodded. "A leadership-level Beast Master acting personally to kidnap an ordinary miner. This situation is already out of the ordinary." "Indeed," Su-ran nodded in agreement. He already had some doubts about the credibility of this matter from the start, but he was distracted by the star dust and didn't pay much attention. If the purpose of the kidnapping was for ransom, they surely would have called the kidnapped victims' parents, and such a powerful beast master wouldn't need to go to such lengths to get money. If their intention was to traffic them, then that's even more illogical. Kingju City is too small, and the distance between cities is so far that it's not worth trafficking miners to another city. And for the same reason, they don't need to go through so much trouble to get money. With this in mind, the motive of their actions is very puzzling. They pledged allegiance to wild super creatures. The answer from Zhang He surprised Su-ran. "Ah, pledged to wild super creatures." Su-ran's face revealed obvious surprise and confusion. He racked his brain but didn't think it would be this. Among super creatures, those that are relatively powerful possess wisdom not inferior to humans. They have established a certain order with intricate power distribution outside the city. Zhang He's expression became more grave. Perhaps because they were surrounded and sealed off for too long, some pessimists started to take extreme measures. The many kidnapped teenagers have one major thing in common. They are very close to reaching the first stage of contract power. Contract power can accelerate the growth of transcendent beings, and when a transcendent being's power surpasses that of a beast master's contract ability, they can strengthen themselves through a forced contract, draining the beast master's life force. Those guys plan to gather 10 and discreetly send them out of the city as a token of goodwill to the wild transcendent beings outside the city. In doing so, they can obtain the recognition of wild transcendent beings, freely exit the city in search of resources without being attacked. Such a vicious incident is happening for the first time in Kingju City. Last night, the city lord was absolutely furious. Zhang Heyer shakes his head helplessly. Knowing the exact situation, Su Ran's expression worsens. These guys are too outrageous. They're completely lawless. Searching for resources outside the city without being attacked by wild transcendent beings is indeed tempting, but such a despicable act must be severely punished. Regardless, we have cut off their source. We will also increase our control over this matter in the future. Zhang Heyer's expression lightens up. Let's talk about something happy. This afternoon, the association will announce the details of this incident, inspiring people and alerting them to this situation. Zhang Heyer pauses slightly before continuing. Of course, recognition of those who contributed is also included. Can you give my foster shop a mention? Su Ran appears excited and hopeful. Yes, Zhang Heyer rolls his eyes at Su Ran teasingly. Boss Su, you've done a great service this time. Although it was a bit unorthodox, the association finally agreed after considering your case. That's great, Su Ran chuckles. Since his previous promotion through washing and caring for stray pet beasts, an increasing number of customers have been coming to the shop for training. Pranks, the last system skill Su Ran unlocked, and the only one yet to reach B level, has seen a faster increase in experience. This is an excellent thing, as Pranks not only relates to the completion of his main task 1, but also provides skill points which both his pet beasts currently need. By rights, its value should be equivalent to physical points. However, currently, because the training service is not as popular as the foster care service, skill points have become scarcer. Presumably, after this afternoon's recognition, the number of clients coming for training will rise again. I'm always wondering, Boss Su, why do you keep advertising the training service? Zhang Heyer looks at the price list on the wall with some confusion. When he sees that it costs 66,666 yuan for an hour of training for a leadership stage pet beast, he winces. Pretty pricey. Yet Su Ran's repeated promotions for the training service had indeed aroused Zhang Heyer's interest. Having experienced the previous success of the washing and cleaning pearls, Zhang Heyer hesitates a moment before gritting his teeth. How about training my giant gold eagle for an hour? Okay, Su Ran laughs, leading Zhang Heyer towards a back door. This way, please. A moment later, they arrive at the Earth Attribute training area. Zhang Heyer, looking at the extremely realistic mountains and ridges around him, is speechless. So magnificent. Is space expansion even capable of this? You're training the Earth Attribute skill, solidification, right? Su Ran looks at Zhang Heyer for confirmation. Yeah, that's right, Zhang Heyer nods. The giant gold eagle possesses 2 attributes, wind and earth. The dual attribute means that the evolution process is more difficult, but it seems the eagle has an advantage in comparison to single attribute beings. Further, it is less likely to be controlled. All right? Su Ran nods slightly, brings out a sack of special resources and a shovel from the training equipment room. Then he finds a flat surface and starts to dig a hole laboriously. Under the stunned gaze of Zhang Heyer and the giant gold eagle, Su Ran quickly digs out a hole big enough to accommodate the giant gold eagle. After evenly sprinkling the resource powder around the hole, Su Ran gestures for the giant gold eagle to come. Get in. Boss Su, what the? Zhang Heyer looks a bit suspicious. What kind of training method is this? Trust me. Su Ran gives Zhang Heyer a confident look before shoveling dirt to bury the giant gold eagle in the hole, leaving only its head exposed. An hour later, looking at the giant gold eagle, which has improved visibly since the beginning of the shell skill, with its body gradually turning into granular sand, but also strangely becoming more stone-faced, Zhang Heyer is silent. Good training, let's not do it again next time. Just discovered that 119 chapters have been reviewed, and a couple of hundred words deleted, damn it. Chapter 189, 129 Beast King's Test. The 3 horrifying incidents of minors being kidnapped by transcendent powers that occurred consecutively this month. All 5 culprits have now been apprehended. Rest assured, the Beast Master Association will spare no effort to protect the lawful rights and interests of every citizen in Kingju City, and we will not allow transcendent powers to be used for evil purposes. According to Zio, the lead criminal among the 5, the reason behind their abduction of minors is not as straightforward. I urge the general public to believe that we are gradually gaining the upper hand in our confrontation with the wild super creatures. The bright future will certainly belong to the humans. If anyone encounters a similar event in their lives, we welcome you to exercise your citizens' right to supervision and report to the Beast Master Association promptly. The association will prioritize cases like this. In addition to the efforts of our association members like Zhang Heyer, Yao Pingchuan, and other leadership-level Beast Masters in the investigation and arrest of the criminals from this case, we also need to thank Mr. Su Ran, the owner of Starfare Foster Care Shop. Mr. Su's ability to discern the criminal intentions is as efficient and miraculous as his training methods, which simplified this case. Clicking. A sturdy arm reached out, grabbed the remote, and pressed the power-off button on the ongoing news broadcast. Enough already. After turning off that damn TV and shutting off the handsome face of Su Ran on the news, Wang Zubin huffed, threw the remote onto the nearby sofa, crossed his arms, and looked displeased. It's that brat again. In just a few days, this was already the 2nd time he had heard news about this pesky kid, and every single time the news would mysteriously mention that fancy training method. The huge Beast Master Association also advertising for this shop. How shameless. He, the owner of Beast King Foster Shop, felt gravely threatened at this moment. Previously, the Starfare Foster Shop only advertised for its foster care services and washing and protection services, although their foster care service clashed with Beast King Foster Shop's. With lower prices and years of built-up reputation, Beast King Foster Shop could barely maintain its scale. More importantly, he had an ace in the hole. That was the professional sparring trainer he had spent a fortune on from the 2nd-level town. With this credential, the Beast King Foster Shop still maintained absolute authority in training services. But now, as Starfare Foster Shop's advertisement began leaning heavily towards accompanying training services, Wang Zubin felt a strong threat. After all, he had already suffered a defeat from that kid once. In the previous beauty contest, he teamed up with the owner of the Dawn Foster store, Fang Liming, to create the absolute top contestants. But they were ridiculed, and not only did they fail to damage Starfare Foster Shop's reputation, but instead became stepping stones. After that incident, Fang Liming completely gave up on challenging Starfare Foster Shop, but his Beast King Foster Shop didn't offer washing and protection services, making it even tougher to make an impact on Starfare Foster Shop on its own. Old Wang, what's the matter? A charming and beautiful woman heard the noise and walked out of her bedroom in her nightgown, sitting next to Wang Zubin, her face exuding a gentle smile. Seeing the woman in front of him dissipated most of Wang Zubin's anger, but in response to her question, he grunted and pointed at the now turned-off TV. It's that damn brat Su Ran again. We're all just trying to do business, but he has no martial virtue. The business world is a battlefield. There's no place for martial virtue. The woman gave a wry smile, leaning over to fix his slightly askew collar. You've been complaining about this shop for a while now. Ah, the woman's gentle adjustment of his collar seemed to soothe Wang Zubin's irritation. He sighed in helplessness. Our store has been in operation for nearly 10 years, maintaining its current scale. Now our business is being snatched away by a store that suddenly appeared out of nowhere. I can't accept this. I understand. The woman smiled, a peculiar glint in her eyes. So, shall we go and see Starfare Foster Shop together? Wang Zubin couldn't help but look at the woman in front of him. Su Qiang, his wife, also a professional sparring trainer at Beast King Foster's store. When Wang Zubin was able to lure her from the 2nd-level town, aside from handing over a heavy sum, it was also because Su Qiang had developed feelings for him. While jointly managing the Beast King, their feelings deepened and they eventually got married. I want to see what their training services are really like, Su Qiang smiled slightly. Besides, you've been harping about this shop for so long, but you haven't been there yourself, right? So shall we go? Mr. Su's ability to discern the criminal intentions is as efficient and miraculous as his training methods, which simplified this case. Clap, clap, clap. Brilliant. Hearing the advertising in the news report, Su-ran clapped enthusiastically. Absolutely brilliant. Xian, who was lazily lying by his side, raised her head to look at Su-ran, before shifting her gaze away. She was startled, thinking Su-ran was trying to mimic a cat. This advertisement placement is a classic of the advertising industry, a perfect example of seamless integration. Su-ran's face was filled with satisfaction, with this ad and this. He pointed to the banner hung in the most prominent position on the wall, visible from the entrance of the shop, with the phrase Kingju City's outstanding foster shop emblazoned on it. His face said it all. This move is solid. Chapter 190, 129 Beast King's Test. The number of clients coming for sparring sessions are about to skyrocket. The more sparring clients we have, the more skill points we get. Whistle, really, that's awesome. When it comes to skill points, Starfire suddenly doesn't feel tired anymore. He who was standing by the side watching TV suddenly shook his head, snorted, and his eyes were brimming with anticipation. Skill points, waning moon level. I think the next time we allocate resources, we should be able to freely use the skill points. Su-ran smiled, opened his personal panel, and glanced at his current progress bar for pranks. Pranks level C, 81,500. When distributing resources yesterday, the data was 59,500. Within one day, the experience points of prank skills have increased by 22 points. This was due to the increase in advertisement brought about by the broadcast report, after providing free washing and protection service to stray pet beasts. News reports are more effective than broadcasting. The daily increase in experience of pranking should increase even more. The experience bar of this system skill is as long as applying drugs, but the difficulty of gaining experience is actually lower than applying drugs. Training a pet beast for an hour can bring him 1 point of experience. Elite and leadership level beast masters often bring several pet beasts and train for several hours. Having such customers visit can provide him with quite a few experience points. Therefore, the day for prank skills to break through to level B is not far off. And pranks, far exceeding the past, will also bring a considerable amount of skill points. Not to mention directly spending all of Starfire's 5 talent skills to the waning moon level. Su-ran can even point all Xian and Starfire's skills, not yet at the waning moon level, to the waning moon level, and then focus on a new proficiency level above the waning moon level. Full moon level. Listening to the blueprint outlined by Su-ran, not only Starfire but also Xian, who hadn't cared much about skill points due to their completed evolution, were now interested. Full moon level skills. A skill needs 2,000 skill points to break from the waning moon level to the full moon level. With Xian's current training status, it might not be able to reach that level just through training in several months. If earning skill points becomes more accessible, and the balance exceeds Starfire's needs, can Xian attempt to advance to a new level of skill proficiency? Thinking of this, Xian glanced at Starfire and then lifted a claw and licked it. Well, there's no hurry. Let's prepare for the younger brother's evolution first. Hello, is this the Starfire foster shop known for its excellent training service? A newcomer walked into the shop and asked straightforwardly, presumably drawn by the news report. Yes, it is. Welcome. Su-ran immediately put on a smile. Starfire and Xian both showed kind expressions. These are all skill points in the making. As time ticked by, the advertisement effect after the news report was better than Su-ran imagined. The continuous hustle between the shop and the training area didn't even leave much time for him to carry out washing and protection. When the shop was about to close, Su-ran sent away a satisfied customer. His smile grew deeper. Pranks level C, 117,500. Just in one afternoon, the prank experience increased by 36 points. Su-ran is clear that the advertising effect is the best just after the broadcast, and it may not maintain this speed of increase in the future, but it is enough to make him happy. According to this trend, if he continues for about a week, should his pranking skills be able to break through to level B smoothly. Thinking of the upcoming completion of the main Task 1 and the new reward system clerk, Su-ran is full of anticipation. After a busy afternoon, he discovered that it was quite challenging to handle all 3 businesses when they were all booming at the same time. The system clerk should be able to solve this problem. Welcome. Catching a new customer through the corner of his eye, Su-ran stood up. What kind of service do you need? You're younger than I expected. Su Qiang smiled. Behind her the hexagram star array shone brightly. In the wild wind, her powerful aura as a leadership level suddenly exploded. Damn! With a loud sound, a pet beast with a fierce look and a height of 10 meters, emanating a terrifying aura, took step by step out. It was a dragon-type pet beast that looked like a dinosaur without wings. Its form was broader on the bottom and narrow on top. Under the conical outline filled with robust muscles were ferocious-looking scales. On its back, there were spine-chilling spines. Su Ran could not help but raise an eyebrow, tilting his head to look at the gigantic beast. By now, he was able to recognize at a glance the background of the pet beast before him. An Earth attribute pet beast, the split earth-thorn dragon. Granted, Su Ran preferred to compare it to a monster from a sci-fi movie in his previous life. Godzilla. The intimidating aura of the split earth-thorn dragon flashed briefly and disappeared. At the hint of Su Qiang, it quickly reigned in the powerful aura of its leadership stage, but its fierce appearance still brought enormous pressure on people. Let me introduce yourself, my little brother. Su Qiang had a faint smile on her face. I'm a trainer at Beast King Foster Shop, and this is my husband, the boss of Beast King Foster Shop. She pointed at Wang Zubin, who had come here with her. Meanwhile, Wang Zubin crossed his arms and glared at Su Ran. Kid, I can't wait to see how capable you are to steal our business from Beast King Foster Shop. His eyes caught a glimpse of the banner hanging in the shop, and the corner of his mouth twitched hard. Damn it! Only after Su Qiang had broken through to become a leadership-level beast master and leveraged their past merits accumulated in the association, that they achieved a similar banner in their Beast King Foster Shop. This kid had already got one. Beast King Foster Shop, Su Ran blinked. An enlightened expression quickly appeared on his face. I know about your shop. It's said to provide the best foster services in Kingju City. Upon hearing Su Ran's words, Su Qiang and Wang Zubin exchanged a glance. They'd heard similar things in the past, but why did it feel a bit mocking coming from Su Ran? What brings you here? Knowing that the pair was from Beast King Foster's shop, Su Ran, naturally, was no longer treating them like regular customers and asked cautiously. Well, here's the thing, Su Qiang composed herself. Her smile quickly returned. I'm here in hopes that Boss Su could train my split earth-thorn dragon. Train? Su Ran was a little surprised, looking towards Su Qiang. Didn't she work as a sparring trainer at Beast King Foster's shop? Why would her pet beast need? Ah, understood. Su Ran realized. She probably wanted to test his strength. Unfortunately, he wasn't terribly interested in such probing. I'm sorry, Su Ran pointed at the wall clock. Our shop is about to close soon, and the training service ends an hour early. We are no longer receiving any new customers now. You two can come back next time. Hey you, hearing the words, Wang Zubin's eyes widened, ready to say something, but Su Qiang stopped him. If that's the case, Su Qiang managed a smile, we'll come earlier tomorrow. After finishing her words, she sent back the split earth-thorn dragon and turned around to leave, pulling Wang Zubin with her. Although Wang Zubin had a fiery temper, he was honest in front of his wife. He turned his head back to glare at Su Ran one last time, then obediently followed Su Qiang. Watching the couple walking away, Su Ran touched his chin. With them insisting like this, it seemed inevitable. Well, if a soldier comes, a general is here to meet. If water floods, let the earth suffocate it. Stretching lazily, without paying too much attention to this matter, Su Ran stood up to close the shop door. He then saw Xian and Star, who had already moved towards the back door to enter the foster area, and couldn't help but smile. These two guys were eagerly waiting for their meals. It's time to prepare food for tonight's foster care residents. Today, advertisement was so effective, so let's add extra food to celebrate their good mood, except for that pudding rabbit who keeps knocking over other pet beasts' food bowls. Packing up to go on a business trip, the second update will be after midnight. Let me quickly post one update to maintain my full attendance record. Don't worry, this won't be counted as tomorrow's update. Chapter 191, 130 tilde. There's a saying, if it's fortune, it won't be a disaster. If it's disaster, you can't escape it. Early the next morning, Su Ran opened the door only to see a couple already waiting outside. He couldn't help but reveal an exasperated expression. Good morning, Boss Su. Su Qiang walked into the shop with a smile. I came quite early today, did I? You guys, Su Ran shook his head helplessly, don't you have your own shop to run? We've hired a lot of staff for our shop, and it can operate smoothly even without us. Su Qiang chuckled. Speaking of which, your business seems to be getting better and better. You should consider hiring some employees. I wish I could, but normal employees wouldn't be able to handle the shop as it is now. Su Ran grumbled in his heart but kept his face calm. I intend to, it's part of the plan. I hope to complete main task 1 soon. Hey, young man, you said your business was about to end yesterday, but would you train our split earth thorn dragon today? Wang Zubin grunted. You, Su Qiang playfully smacked her husband and turned to Su Ran with an apologetic smile. He's just like that. Ignore him. All right, Su Ran gave a slight nod. Let's head to the training area. The couple were openly testing his strength, but he didn't have a reason to refuse. After all, who would refuse free skill points? Watching Su Ran turn to enter the shop, the smile on Su Qiang's face deepened. Finally, she was going to see the strength of this young shop owner during the training. If he exaggerated too much, then she won't show mercy. Clients who were stolen by the Beast King Foster shop should be won back. Wang Zubin folded his arms and closely followed his wife, glancing left and right with scorn in his eyes. Just this small place, even if they have this so-called space expansion technique, what can they? Seeing the foster area on the lower level, Wang Zubin's face froze for a moment, and his thoughts temporarily halted. This big. Standing by, Su Qiang was no different. The boundless foster area left her speechless. After a moment she looked towards an undisturbed Su Ran. Boss Su, is this your shop's training area? Unconsciously, her way of addressing Su Ran had changed, and she had already put him on par with herself. Ah no, Su Ran shook his head, this is just the foster area. Just the foster area. Just. The expressions of Su Qiang and Wang Zubin became increasingly odd. For some reason, Su Ran's calm statement of fact sounded sarcastic in their ears. After all, the combined foster and training areas of the Beast King Foster shop were smaller than this space. While they were talking, they passed through a snowy mound. Witnessing the frost dust wolf happily running through the snowy hills and the armored rhinoceros rolling about joyously in the nearby mud pond, Su Qiang's expression suddenly changed. Boss Su, is there only one pet beast in each area? At first glance, given the different attribute scenes, she thought it was designed for pet beasts of the same attribute, to foster many pet beasts of the same attribute in one area. Now taking a closer look, she found that this wasn't the case. Yes, Su Ran nodded lightly, each pet beast here gets an area most suitable for them. Of course it's not always like this. He paused and pointed at a lake area, like over there. Su Qiang was taken aback. Did Boss Su divide the different treatment levels according to different prices, where the solo areas belonged to premium services which required an extra charge, and were otherwise, like other foster shops, accommodating based on attribute in one area? The moment she made this assumption, she looked towards the area Su Ran was pointing at, and her expression froze again. The lake was twice the size of other areas, with a jungle island in the middle. The environment was magnificent and not at all inferior to the other areas. There was a beast master who wanted to foster 2 pet beasts together, a water attribute wave frog and an earth attribute merlin fruit. I obliged, and as for the size of the area, naturally, it's twice as big as that for other pet beasts. Boss Su is amazing, Su Qiang sighed slightly. She truly admired him. Even in a second-level town, there wouldn't be such a large foster care service. Before arriving, she felt that the price of Su Ran's foster shop was too high. After arriving, she felt that their own shop's price was too high. Since entering the underground level, Wang Zubin hadn't made a peep. This foster area alone already reflecting his defeat. The idea to take a dig at Su Ran, which he was thinking about earlier, had now vanished. He could now understand how his old friend, Fang Liming, felt. So Boss Su, where's the training area? Su Qiang asked softly with a glint of hope in her eyes. If the foster area is like this, wouldn't the training area be just as impressive? It's right ahead, Su Ran stopped. During their conversation, the trio had arrived at the elevator leading to the training area. Entering, Su Ran pushed the Earth attribute button. As the elevator momentarily lost weight, the outside view suddenly changed. This astonishing scene left the couple stunned again. Stepping out of the elevator, they saw an endless range of towering mountains and ubiquitous Earth attributed transcendent power. Try as she might, the look of surprise on Su Qiang's face didn't fade. Chapter 192, 130 . Training areas are often divided by attributes at many places that provide training services. However, Su Qiang admitted that she had never seen a training area for a particular attribute so realistically depicted. Needless to say, the other 9 attribute training areas within Starfare Foster's shop are similar in scale to this one. Is it possible for space expansion technology to reach this level? The split Earth Thorn Dragon can be summoned now. The reminder from Su Ran brought Su Qiang back to her senses. The hexagram star array sparkled behind her. Amidst the raging winds, the split Earth Thorn Dragon emerged one step at a time with heavy strides. Feeling the strong Earth attribute power from the outside world, its eyes visibly revealed an exhilarating emotion. It roared excitedly to the sky. Su Ran slightly raised his eyebrows. The sound was off. It didn't sound like Godzilla at all. The skill requiring training is the 2-star skill Earth Yell. Su Qiang looked at Su Ran. The split Earth Thorn Dragon has been stuck at the waning moon level for a long time, and it isn't far from achieving the full moon level. However, it can never seem to find the feeling of breakthrough. Understood, Su Ran nodded slightly. The Stardust level skill corresponds to the Transcendent stage, the Starlight level to the Elite stage, and the Waning Moon level to the Leadership stage. This is the average strength for each growth stage. So, for a Leadership stage split Earth Thorn Dragon, having all skills at the Waning Moon level is just ordinary. Beast masters who aspire to raise pet beasts will strive for the pet beast skill proficiency to be one level higher than the corresponding growth stages. That is, as many skills of leadership stage pet beasts as possible should reach the full moon level. Is the goal this time to break through the full moon level for split Earth Thorn Dragon's Earth Yell skill? An idea came to Su Ran, and the familiar text appeared in front of his eyes. In order to improve the efficiency of this sparring session, the system will grant the host with the knowledge related to the Earth Yell Skill Training Guide. The large amount of knowledge about various pet beasts, various proficiencies in executing the Earth Yell, and in-depth analysis of the Earth Yell skill together, with a summary of suggested training methods, were poured straight into Su Ran's mind. There are quite a few Earth attribute pet beasts mastering this skill, but the most representative of them is the split Earth Thorn Dragon, which is also the core of the split Earth Thorn Dragon's output. After checking through the multiple training methods for Earth Yell in his mind, Su Ran's expression suddenly became a bit peculiar. Most training methods are quite standard. But just like in the past, the higher the training efficiency, the more playful the methods. The method with the highest training efficiency is surprisingly consistent with Su Ran's thoughts. Hold on. Su Ran turned to walk towards the training equipment warehouse and quickly brought out a tape recorder. Next, I will explain how to train for Earth Yell. The split Earth Thorn Dragon nodded heavily, giving a strange feeling of docility even in its ferocious gaze. Its Earth Yell has been stuck at the pinnacle of the waning moon level for a long time. Just now, Su Qiang reminded it through contractual sensing to take Su Ran's training methods seriously, hence its unusual seriousness now. Listen carefully. Su Ran took a deep breath and then pressed the play button on the tape recorder. A delicate voice came out through the recorder and echoed in the vicinity. Ya tilde tilde tilde. There is a video in the Easter egg chapter. The air suddenly quieted down. Wang Zubin and his wife glanced at each other, not understanding Su Ran's intentions. The split Earth Thorn Dragon, who was listening attentively to the class, also showed a puzzled expression. What is he up to? Soon Su Ran provided an answer. Imitate this sound. He spoke in a serious manner. When you can perfectly produce this sound, your Earth Yell will be able to break through to the full moon level. Su Qiang. Wang Zubin. Split Earth Thorn Dragon. Can the split Earth Thorn Dragon make this sound? Both the couple and the pet beast were somewhat confused. Su Qiang was full of confusion. She knew that some sparring trainers had unusual and seemingly strange training methods. But this kind of strange was her first time seeing it. What's the principle behind this? She couldn't help but ask and then coughed slightly. I was just curious. Boss Su doesn't have to explain if he doesn't want to. Well, there's really nothing I can't tell, Su Ran shrugged. Previously, when he was accompanying training, some guests had questioned his training methods. He would patiently answer them. Even now, facing a peer, there was no need to hide anything. Godzi, no, the split Earth Thorn Dragon is very familiar with the Earth Yell, but precisely because it's too familiar, its breakthrough is difficult. Su Ran said earnestly, so it needs some novelty. When the split earth thorn dragon uses this skill, it experiences a sensation it has never felt before. It can then regain the initial resolve it had for continual improvement, eventually breaking free from the constraints of the full moon level. Novelty, Su Qiang murmured thoughtfully. Su Ran's explanation indeed made sense. But why this voice? Su Qiang couldn't help but ask. Trust me, this voice is the most effective. Su Ran couldn't exactly say it was due to his perverse taste, he just wore a no-comment expression. All right, Su Qiang didn't dwell on it, signaling for the split earth thorn dragon to begin. Roar! The split earth thorn dragon tried to mask its fearsome, fang-filled maw and imitate the sound it had just heard. Though the sounds were different from its own, they were still quite far from the sounds produced by the recorder. No, you should tighten your throat muscles like this, and then like this. Su Ran immediately stepped in to give directions, replaying the recording for the split earth thorn dragon to follow along. Again and again, under Su Ran's guidance, the split earth thorn dragon's roar gradually altered, sounding more and more like the recording. The expressions on the faces of Su Qiang and Wang Zubin, who had been observing the entire process, grew increasingly strange. Ya tilde tilde tilde. After countless adjustments, the split earth thorn dragon finally let out a roar that perfectly matched the sound from the recorder. A spark ignited in its eyes, then it roared again. Ya tilde tilde tilde. Its earth attribute power suddenly exploded, immediately causing the large swath of ground within a 500-meter radius to crack like a spider's web. The terrifying force gushed out from the earth's fissures, continuously spreading to the surroundings. 2-star skills, full moon level earth yell. Just in time, 1 hour. Su Ran looked at the time and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Breaking through to full moon level proficiency at leadership stage involved he has to accompany and direct it to the whole process, unlike previously when he just needed to give directions and then let the beast master accompany it. However, the effect was pretty clear. Looking at Wang Zubin and his wife who were in shock as if they had seen a ghost, Su Ran just smiled. Mission accomplished. Welcome to return again. As he stood at the door, seeing off the bewildered couple with a grin, Su Ran stopped waving his hand and returned to the shop. His expression gradually became odd. Perhaps he was accustomed to the long training after ending the training, Godzilla's. Ah no, the split earth thorn dragon's shout was still, ya tilde tilde tilde. He wondered how long it would last. Is this the Starfare Foster shop that provides accompaniment training services? A new customer entering the shop brought a bright smile back to Su Ran's face. Welcome to visit. In the hustle and bustle, 6 days passed quickly. With 2 consecutive advertisements, the accompaniment training service of Starfare Foster shop visibly gained significant popularity to the point that Su Ran had no time to provide washing and protection. With no other option, Su Ran could only schedule washing and protection in the mornings with accompaniment training in the afternoons. It was also a constant reminder that he really needed a helper in the shop. Fortunately, with his continuous hard work, the experience of his prank skill was growing at a rocket-like speed and getting closer and closer to B-level. Boss Su, long time no see. Su Xiaoxiao's cheerful and lively voice arrived before she did. Haven't seen her yet, just heard her voice. The next moment, a young girl carrying a flame fox appeared in front of Su Ran. I've heard about you several times during this period. Su Xiaoxiao started, grinning happily. Unfortunately, I have been busy reviewing for my final exams and have not had time to come over. First, train little flame for an hour, then give it a wash and protect. Prank C level, 499-500. Glimpsing at his personal panel and then at his very first customer after the opening of the Foster shop, Su Ran smiled. No problem. Chapter 193-131. B-level pranks, main task 1 completed. Boss Su, we're not training flame dance this time. Inside the fire attribute training area, Su Xiaoxiao happily said, and I must thank Boss Su for his help, because flame dance was upgraded to starlight level. I scored very high in the beast control practical examination at the end of the semester. Congratulations. Su Ran smiled slightly, not boasting about it. This is all due to your and Flame Fox's hard work. Hee, Su Xiaoxiao scratched her head with a laugh. She wouldn't simply accept Su Ran's statement, believing it was truly her and Little Flame's hard work that allowed for the successful breakthrough to the starlight level. Without Boss Sue's amazing training method, Little Flame should have been able to upgrade Flame Dance to the Starlight level only in the next semester. However, there were also side effects. Recalling how Little Flame, after scoring high in the practical examination at the end of the semester, broke into a dance in front of all the teachers and students, Su Xiaoxiao still felt somewhat embarrassed even now. It's so embarrassing. So do you plan to train Flame Wall or Fire Eye this time? Su Ran glanced at Flame Fox, who had just landed lightly and was looking around, and asked. This time we're training Flame Wall, Su Xiaoxiao answered without hesitation. Compared to the 1-star Fire Eye, the training priority of the 2-star skill Flame Wall is naturally higher. No problem, Su Ran nodded slightly. With a move in his heart, the training guide for Flame Wall appeared in his mind. However, his expression gradually became more interesting as he read through all the recommended training methods. This training method. Wait for me. Under the gaze of Su Xiaoxiao and Flame Fox, Su Ran turned and went into the training equipment warehouse, quickly fetching the training equipment. A tape recorder and a dance mat. This is. Seeing the familiar training equipment, Su Xiaoxiao's eyes gradually widened. Boss Su, you're not going to train Flame Wall through dancing too, are you? Though it was fine to use dancing for Flame Dance, why would Flame Wall need dancing too? That's right, but the dance is different. Su Ran nodded slightly and began to explain seriously. Flame Wall is a skill that constructs a wall-like structure out of flames, with the built wall possessing defensive and counterattack abilities. Flame is elemental power. Constructing a wall as earth attribute does is difficult to imagine, so the best way to enhance such a skill is to experience what a wall is really like. So it's necessary to familiarize with real walls, Su Xiaoxiao asked curiously. If that were the case, Little Flame is already quite familiar with them in her daily life, isn't she? No, of course it's not that simple. Su Ran shook his head slightly. As I said before, the wall constructed by the flames is virtual, so in order to improve the skill proficiency, one needs to know how to make the wall from virtual to real. By imagination. Su Ran's expression became serious, and he pressed the play button on the tape recorder heavily. The rhythmic music intro quickly rang out, and Su Ran's body lightly swayed to the rhythm of the music, with one hand on his waist and the other raised forward with the palm open. Follow my movements. Oh, okay. Having had previous experience, Su Xiaoxiao hurriedly followed Su Ran's movements. Yang. This is good. Listening to the new music, Flame Fox's eyes lit up. Standing upright, one of its front paws was on its waist, the other raised just like Su Ran's. As both person and pet got into position, a voice finally came through in the music. Let's all clean tilde GLS. See bonus chapter. Su Xiaoxiao. Flame Fox. Both of them watched as Su Ran's dance to the rhythm became serious, and their expressions gradually grew more interesting. This dance. Why does it seem so unserious? An hour later. Cleaning the glass tilde. The enchanting music echoed in the fire attribute training field. Su Xiaoxiao and Flame Fox, after their initial resistance, were now moving somewhat enthusiastically to the rhythm. As for Su Ran, he had rushed out immediately after demonstrating it once. It really was too awkward for him, a grown man, to dance like this. But for that last bit of experience in pranks, it was all worth it. Experience in pranks +1. Looking at the words that suddenly appeared before his eyes, a smile emerged on Su Ran's face. The next moment, the notice of experience gained disappeared, replaced by 2 new lines of text. Pranks has reached B level. Main task 1 has been completed. Finally, after waiting so long, it's finally here. Taking a deep breath, Su Ran opened his personal panel. Host Su Ran. Contract Power, 2nd State. Contract Pet Beast. Xeon View Details. Star View Details. System Skills. Plucking Fur B level, 103,500. Drug Application B level, 208 2000. Pranks B level, 0 2000. Pet Beast Skills. Dragon Power Not Teachable. Physical Points, 5324 Discretionary. Skill Points, 4410 Discretionary. Pleasure Value, 97,388. System Upgrade Experience, 0 2000. Main Task 1, Making a Big Entrance completed. Task Description, please upgrade all 3 system skills to B level. Task Reward. System Clerk X1, System Upgrade Experience plus 100. Click to claim the task reward. Lottery Drawing. Recycling 73 skill fragments. Finally, that moment has arrived. Suran took a deep breath, suppressing his inner excitement. A full month had passed since the system's upgrade, and Task 1 was issued. He finally completed this task. Subconsciously, Suran glanced at the hanging clock on the wall. Chapter 194-131, B-Level Pranks, Main Task 1 completed. Only a few minutes remained until the end of today's 6-hour training. After being recruited by the system, is the system clerk now considered a new member of the store? Such an important moment should be witnessed by Xian and Star. Suppressing his urge to claim the task reward immediately, Suran began to check other information on the panel. As he expected, with the full explosion of his training business, the gains from skill points were quickly catching up with physical points. Next time when distributing resources, Star can fully use his skill points to raise all 5 of his talent skills to waning moon level. Not only that, Xian can also raise 1 skill to full moon level. However, the next resource allocation is not so soon. Suran's gaze fell on his pleasure value. These days, although there was less washing and care, the income from pleasure value was even higher with the 3 businesses combined. His pleasure value was enough for a 10 consecutive pull again. Another day missing my lucky fish. With his cheeks propped up, looking out at the shop door, Suran sighed. Boss Su, what's this about a lucky fish? Su Xiaoxiao, who came out with Flame Fox, heard him and asked curiously. Nothing, you heard wrong. Suran shook his head. Are you going to do the washing and care now? Not this time. Su Xiaoxiao shook her head reluctantly. My family called me to go home. There must be something urgent. Washing and care have to wait until next time. Meow tilde. The Flame Fox hung its head in disappointment, as it was very upset about not having the washing and care. Okay, welcome anytime. Suran watched a person and a pet leave, then turned his gaze back towards the shop's back door. The ones who came out this time were Xian and Star, who had completed the 6-hour training at the same time. Compared with 6 days ago, the charisma of Star at this moment was much stronger, and under the aid of a large number of resources exchanged with Beast Master points, its progress speed could be described as phenomenal. At this moment, it had reached the peak of the growth stage. The purple crystal-like hooves had become even deeper in color, as if powerful explosive energy was hidden in them, allowing Star's speed to reach terrifying levels in an instant. In contrast, the aura of Xian next to him didn't seem much different from 6 days ago. After all, it had reached the peak of the elite stage 6 days ago. However, if one observed closely, they would be able to sense a heart-stirring power hidden under its petite body, as if it was a volcano waiting to erupt at any moment. Hurry up, I've been waiting for you. Suran's face revealed an expectant look as he immediately closed the shop's door. At this familiar setup, both Xian and Star showed surprised expressions on their faces. Meow, are we going to allocate resources again? Xian couldn't help but ask. No, Suran shook his head slightly. The next resource allocation will have to wait a bit longer. This time there is something equally important. Our store is about to welcome a new companion. As Suran's words fell, Xian and Star had surprisingly similar reactions. They both looked towards the direction of the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. Is the new companion the hatching beast egg? But wasn't it said that it would take a long time? It's not that egg. Suran guessed their thoughts from the actions of the 2 pets and laughed while shaking his head. The new companion I'm talking about is not a new pet beast, but a new clerk. Meow clerk. Xian blinked, quickly showing a thoughtful expression. Speaking of which, other humans who run stores hire clerks to help, right? So is Beast Master supposed to hire a new clerk for the foster shop as well? Zailu, what kind of clerk is it? Star on the other side also showed a look of anticipation. During its time at the Mount Beast breeding base, it had interacted with many base staff, so the clerk should be similar, right? It's also wondering if it would get along well. I'm not sure what kind of clerk it is. Suran smiled mysteriously, but soon we'll find out. As he spoke, Suran, who could no longer hold back, chose to claim the reward without hesitation. System Upgrade Experience, 02,000. System Upgrade Experience, 102,000. At the same time, new text appeared in front of Suran. Would you like to summon a system clerk? Yes, no. Summoning. Upon seeing this word, anticipation began to intensify in Su Ran's eyes. What would his system clerk look like? Could it be a cute Lolita dressed in a maid outfit, or a gentle elder sister in a cheongsam? Come on, he couldn't wait any longer. Without hesitation, Su Ran opted for yes. The next moment, a flash of glaring light appeared inside the shop. A gate of light slowly formed in front of Su Ran and his two pet beasts. Then the light door cracked open slowly. This grand entrance raised the anticipation of everyone present. The next moment, the door swung wide open with a swoosh sound. Seeing that massive and hairy arm gripping the door handle from the inside, the expressions of Su Ran and his two pet beasts froze simultaneously. A muscle-bound man with a ponytail, a thick beard and a pink apron strode out of the light door with an air of arrogance. The muscle man looked around before locking his gaze onto Su Ran. He winked at Su Ran, made a heart shape with his thumbs and forefingers, and then let out a deep and magnetic voice. "Ohio boss Su. Su Ran. Stupid system, give me my Lolita maid and Cheongsam elder sister back. What demon is this system clerk? Are you kidding me? Can I return this?" Perhaps feeling Su Ran's emotional turmoil, a new notification appeared before his eyes. The appearance and personality of the system clerk are randomly generated and cannot be changed once summoned. Okay then. Su Ran gave a side glance at the muscle man, who was grinning proudly, and gave up on arguing. Xian and Star, who had gradually recovered from their shock, exchanged a look, each wearing an indescribable expression. Though they weren't humans, they still understood some human aesthetics. Isn't this new member of the shop a bit too strange? Without noticing the odd look on Su Ran and the pet beasts' faces, the pink muscle man waved at Su Ran. His thick eyebrows twitching, he said, "Hello, boss. I'm your first system clerk, Tony. You can call me Tiny Tilda." "All right, Tony," Su Ran replied, expressionless. Ah, such indifference from the boss. I love it. Tony covered his heart, casting another sultry glance at Su Ran. Has this damned system got something against me? Su Ran silently cursed in his heart and took a deep breath to calm himself. Okay, Tony, be normal. As a clerk, you should be able to help me with the operation of the Foster shop, right? Tell me what you can do. All right? When it came to work, Tony's expression got a bit serious, although he still looked a bit frivolous. I can use all your skills, boss, to quickly take care of any work in the shop. The work I do, you can get half of the pleasure value and corresponding rewards. The other half will be my wage, but... He dragged out his words, then unexpectedly made a heart shape with his hand towards Su Ran. My delicate body can only take on one type of work, Tilda. Shut up, Su Ran rubbed his temples in agony. Isn't this guy really created by the system itself? This frivolous behavior seemed to have the system all over it. Mainly, Su Ran understood that a system clerk could help with any of the three types of work, taking some of the load off him. But the cost was that the pleasure value and system skill, income the clerk worked on would be halved. Since he was already struggling to manage all three tasks at once, this loss was not a real loss to him. Currently, he spent half the day washing and protecting and the other half training. If he allowed Tony to take over one of these tasks, he could spend an entire day on one task and still get half a day's earnings from the other. Viewed overall, his profits would still increase. However, is the system clerk just this simple?